All right. All right, my little motherfuck faces. We're doing it big tonight. Long awaited guest for Validation Boy live stream. This is Validation Boy live stream, February 23rd, 2018. And we have a guest in here. It's GED Skeptic Media. Jed, are you there?
Of course I'm here, Mario.
Excellent, bro. I just want to tell you, bro, it is a huge, huge honor to have you on my show tonight, bro.
You fucker.
Fucking motherfucker. It's a huge honor to have you. You're an excellent guest, bro.
I fucking told you not to say that.
You knew it was coming, though. You knew it was coming.
Fucking hell. It's an honor to be here, VB.
Oh, thanks,
in the deepest, darkest corners of YouTube. Love it, man. Love it.
All right, so let's do the first 5 in chat. All right, in at number 1, a channel everyone needs to subscribe to, Andres, Andrzace. Check him out. Subscribe. In at number 2, it can't be Jed Skeptic because you're a guest right now, so that doesn't count. So then Flat Owl is technically number 2. And then in at number 3 is Schlominger. In at number 4 is another honored guest, Ed Upside Down Head. And after that, we got fucking Timothy Osmond in at number 5. Believe it or not, that motherfuck face made it in here at number fucking 5 in the first 5. So it's great to have everybody in here. Shout out to fucking OJ McBaggins, Titty Sprinkles, Whippy Dick, Dr. Jean Marie Finger, Jim Morrison from The Doors. Wow, I thought that guy died in the 60s. Oh, he's over here right now. And fucking and for now, that seems to be it. All right, man. All right.
Did you see Timmy was in the chat there?
Yeah, he's in at number 5.
What do you think? What do you think is kind of dig at me for my analysis of the SpaceX stuff? Because to me, I thought, right, I'm just analyzing this shit, and what I'm seeing is 2 of the same videos. And he said that I wasn't looking at 2 of the same videos, and it was false, and it was just untrue. And people are even saying in the comments it was 2 of the same videos because they never had a video for the other one, so they had to edit it later on. So my analysis was factual, man. I was just saying what I was seeing, and that was the truth. And Timmy went on the sort of offensive and said, why would they put 2 of the same videos side by side? But even in the video that I showed you during my analysis debunking Tim, the guy even said in the commentary, he says, what you're looking at the 2 bottom cameras, even though they look the same, they're actually a representative of 2 different boosters. So even the guy commentating was saying that was 2 different boosters. And I was saying, it looks the same. It looks the same to me.
It couldn't have been the same because the Earth would have had to been inverted. And you saw whatever landmass or whatever cloud shapes you saw on there, they were the exact same in the exact same direction. One of them would have had to been inverted if it was from different sides of the rocket. So when I saw it live, or not live, but when I saw the first video that I saw of the whole thing, that was my immediate thought. Was like, why are they doubled on the bottom? Why are they doubling the camera? Because I thought about it and I was like, well, is it the other side? No, it can't be the other side because then it would have to be inverted. It would have to be coming from the other. You know, the camera would be on this side, the Earth, and then the camera would be on this side. So,
well, they can perform that perfect maneuver with 2 boosters landing fucking exactly at the same time, but they kind of give you a view, a decent camera view. So really, if they 2 bottom ones were just duplicates, just clones, we were really only watching how many? Because was it 2 videos and there's 3 boosters? So for all we know, one of the boosters has exploded and they've just duplicated. Again, it might have happened, but there might have been one of them might have exploded and they've just duplicated it or something. Fuck knows, but they were 2 of the same videos, and Timmy was trying to say I was bullshit, and I think I was telling the truth. I mean, and I'm happy that you kind of seen the way I seen it as well. I was like, well, at least somebody's fucking can see this as well.
Yeah, it was my first instinct the second I saw it, and when I saw you talking about it, I was like, yeah, 100%, man. This is very obvious, and and then you came out with the video reiterating all those little points, and I just had to give it a big thumbs up because you're dead on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it just shows people that I didn't take one side. I'm not a NASA fanboy, man. I was never a NASA fanboy. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I actually got into the flat Earth because I thought the flat Earth might make a dent in the psyop that's coming out of NASA. I think a lot of real things do come out of NASA. I think there's a lot of good stuff, but I think they're exaggerating stuff. They're making up stuff just to get funding from colleges and shit like that, or universities, whatever it is. Like, if they were showing us bullshit every year, like on the tellies, they wouldn't get the funding from the public. Like they have to make up these stories, these fantastical Trappist systems and stuff like that, just to get the funding. I think that's all it is. It's all to do with money, really.
I mean, what if it's just bigger than money? What if it's a spiritual thing? What if it's about control? And it's just about the controlling the mindset of people and just getting people to believe that there's
people are spiritual. People like Elon Musk, do you think he's a spiritual person?
He's probably super spiritual. He's probably 10 times more spiritual than I am, even. But in an evil way.
What makes you think that he's more spiritual than you? You talk about Jesus and shit. You didn't hear Elon Musk talking about Jesus.
No, he doesn't talk about Jesus. He works for Satan. He's probably 10 times more spiritual, but on the dark side of things,
All right.
That's what I mean. Right. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not about. I mean, I just think that when you're at the top levels like that, and you're talking about big institutional things like NASA, space travel, the United States government, and stuff like that, I think it's beyond money. Like, money's not even a question there. Like, they probably don't even have to pay for half of the stuff that they do. People probably just donate it to them because people want to suck up to the government,
Mm-hmm.
or they print their own money. So, some manufacturer says, okay, I'm going to give you this, and we need this, and I'm going to give you this for my company. And it's all free because they're all Freemasons. They're all butt buddies with each other up at the top like that. So I don't even think it's about money. I think it's about controlling the perception of the common person, the common man's mind. And they get us believing that we can go to space, which I personally don't believe that they can do. And I think it's a big deal for them to be able to convince people that they have these magnificent powers, that they're so mighty, that they have these epic powers that they can.
Well, I'm kind of in the middle, man. I think they can get so far into space, but when they talk about fucking buggies on Mars and fucking all this other shit, to me, it seems far-fetched. It really does. It seems really, and this Tesla car fucking going to Mars, it's just, what a lot of crap, man. Honestly, what a lot of crap. It just doesn't even make sense. Like on a financial level, just on an economic level, why would you spend 100 million to send they have to use some kind of payload? They keep saying it's like, well, this was a technology NASA have been trying to master for 50 years. This rocket that lands back, and they failed every time. And SpaceX do it in one fucking go.
Plus, if SpaceX needs some kind of payload, then how inefficient and stupid are they if they just spend 100 million, 100 billion, whatever it costs? Why not kill two birds with one stone and send up something that's also very useful, some other thing that needs to be sent up there?
Satellite.
Or anything. I mean, do some other experiment that people have, been wanting to know, what happens if you do X, Y, Z? Well, here's an opportunity. We don't even have a payload. Instead of me doing an advertisement for my fucking car, let's do something honest in the name of science and achieve several scientists' goals at the same time. All this money's already been put in, but instead he just takes a picture, basically takes a dick pic of himself and puts it in space. That's what the Tesla car is, right? It's like a $90,000 fucking electrical car, and he's just bragging about his car.
It reminds me of the time when they were talking about putting a Coca-Cola advertisement on the moon. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
The first advertisements on the moon. It just reminded me of that shit all over again. The first Tesla flying to Mars. Again, it's just so far-fetched. And I'm not saying that it's fake. I don't really fuck it. Like, to me, it just seems so surreal that it doesn't make sense to me, man. It doesn't. But nothing makes sense to me in this world nowadays. Really, nothing, man.
I know. I mean, let's even say that the whole thing was real. What a fucking waste. What a waste of resources. What a waste of time. I mean, there's children starving all over the world, and you're sending a fucking electric car into space, man.
Well, how much? What was it? 100 million? 100 million could fucking bring countries out of the fucking brink, like Greece and countries in Europe that are fucking really struggling. 100 million could do a lot for these countries. Maybe a small dent, but like you said, 100 million could have went to a lot better use. And I don't know what he's saying, like Bob Geldof, they could have built wells in Africa, but you know what I mean. It's just a pure waste of money. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. I was going to ask you, man. I was going to ask you because you're in that area, Florida shooting. Like, what? I've not really looked because at the end of the day, I'm British, so it's kind of none of it's none of my business, but it's like you should be more interested in it than me. Like, I've not really looked much into it. But what's your opinion on it all, man?
On what, NASA or SpaceX or just space travel in general or what?
Florida shooting. This recent Florida shooting. The school.
Oh, that. I haven't really looked into it that much because I just kind of like auto hoaxed it. I just assume it's just another one of the many, you know,
But you didn't look into anything.
barely at all, man. And plus, it was in a different region of Florida. I mean, that's like 5.
Do you not think that's fucked up, man? What has the media done to us to make us actually start ignoring these things? Like, especially when it's so local to your area. Like the fact that you haven't even looked at it. That's weird, man.
Well, I know. Well, think about this. Back in 2016, I think it was, there was that Pulse gay nightclub shooting. That was recorded. That was the record-breaking most kills in a mass killing in United States history, and it was literally, basically minutes from my house. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't care that much. I mean, I made a video about it like a couple weeks later and stuff. It's just like, I don't care, I just think it's all fake, man.
You think it's all fake?
Yeah, I think it's all fake. Or, a buddy of mine that I grew up with, he said, "Hey, man, I know you think all these shootings are completely fake and everything, but you think there's a possibility that the guy was MK Ultra and he was a patsy and all that." I said, yeah, maybe that's a possibility. Like, he was convinced to do that. Like, that could make sense because this time they actually have what appears to be an actual person. With Adam Lanza, you only got a still shot. But with this one, there's video of the kid in the courthouse during his hearing, and he's got his head down. He's all somber and stuff. But, with the CGI stuff that we've seen lately, I mean, remember they came out with that video of this guy talking, and he had George Bush's face over here, and then they switched George Bush out for Obama or Hillary. It didn't matter, and this guy would say whatever he wanted, and then it was George Bush saying whatever this guy said. Remember all that?
Yep.
That technology. Okay, they got that, and then I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know who came out with it originally, but I saw it on Mark Sargent. He copied it, and it has 5 space shuttles going up at the same time, and it looks super, super real. Have you seen that video?
No.
I guess it's like a popular video that's going around right now. And I'm not subscribed to Mark Sargent. I don't think I ever did, but I guess it's so popular that it came up in my recommended. Mm-hmm. And it was basically, it said something on the thumbnail like, SpaceX couldn't have been faked. It's all real, so he's being sarcastic. So I click on it, and it's like a 5-minute video, and it looks like people that are at a launch with their phones and stuff, and it looks just like any other NASA, phone recorded video, handheld recorded video would look, and it looks super, super real. And it looks like it's from like the 90s or something, and it has 5 shuttles going up at the same time, and it looks very, very real. And the whole point of it is like anything on TV could be CGI. Anything, even the SpaceX launch itself. Now, when SpaceX did launch the Falcon Heavy, I was in Orlando. It's about an hour or so to where they were actually launching, an hour's drive from where I was standing. All I saw was a bright orange and pink flare going up in this very, very far distance. And then it kind of arched even further eastward, basically towards the Atlantic. And then it turned, and then the red flames disappear. And you almost see like a puff of dark gray smoke, and then it's gone. That's all I saw. I didn't even know there was a launch that day. So,
but at least just you witnessing that can put to bed that they do launch something. It's not these fucking like flat earthers, it's balloons and stuff like pulling up these rockets and fucking like you actually witnessed a rocket going into space. Like, well, into the sky. Sorry, not into space, into the fucking sky.
I witnessed something being up there. Yeah, it could have been a hologram if you think about it too, though. Could have been a hologram technically. We don't know.
I don't know if they can produce holograms, like moving holograms. I don't think that's possible, man. Like, I know they can do a hologram on stage. I know I've seen a Tupac concert and shit like that, but it's like to have so many people witness it in so many angles, like a 360 degree. Like, you'd have to see something projecting that hologram, like something.
Well, no, you're only looking at 180 degrees because they're doing it on the east coast of the ocean.
So the whole sea is on the other side. Yep.
Yes, of course there's going to be some people out in the ocean. So, but I don't know, man. They could be holograms, but even if it's real, it's just a rocket that goes up in the sky and then disappears and pretty much arches outward towards the ocean. It's kind of like
back to Florida, man. I want to talk about Florida again. And it's not just Florida. It's just like every time there's a shooting, like a school shooting or a shooting somewhere, the Americans come out and say they're trying to take the guns. Like the conspiracy theorists sort of side it. It's like they're just trying to take the guns. But what the pattern I keep seeing is every time there's a shooting, there's a rise in sales in guns. So is it like every time the NRA or whoever is in control of the arms in America, every time they want to have a big boost to sales, can, like you said, maybe they fake a shooting and then suddenly everyone thinks they're going to take our AR, was it AR-50s or AR-25s or what the fuck they are? And so they're going to buy them before they get taken off the market. And it's like, I've always seen this. It's like every time there's a shooting and they threaten to take the guns, the sale of guns go up. And they never take the guns away. They never. So I think it's more about selling guns rather than wanting to take them off people.
Or check out this angle. You know how they always say, well, some people argue it's about guns. Other people argue it's about mental health and how they can do a whole bunch of mental health laws and really mess people up and get people in trouble and get people locked away that they want off the streets and stuff. Or, you know, they can.
Well, I think a lot of the crime, a lot of the shooting in America is down to mental health. It's not all the guns. It's the way of thinking. Like, God, if we had guns in Britain, I probably would be in jail by now. The arguments you get with people and just that, you get that angry, you could probably grab a gun and just pull the trigger and go, what the hell did I just do? And you just shot somebody. Like, I think there's too many guns, people just so quick to grab a gun and just solve arguments like that. And I would probably do the same if there was a gun lying around and someone was outside with a gun threatening me. I'd probably go out with a gun and shoot them or something like that.
Well, that'd be justified. That'd be justified. I wouldn't even feel guilty about that. If someone had a gun and I had my gun, it's on, bro. I mean, what? You're gonna whip that thing out on me? You're done, bro. I mean,
and I understand why Americans want to have guns. If you've got criminals and police that are corrupt running around with arms, why shouldn't you have arms to protect your family? If these people are out there, because if you take your arms away, but then you've just got the criminals and the cops with guns. So I understand it from that side of it. Britain are really insensitive with the whole gun stuff. But the way I see it is like try to tell Muslims to eat pork. Like try to take Americans' guns away is like try to tell Muslims, force them to eat pork, and it's just never going to happen.
Yeah. Well, here's kind of what I was trying to get at, though. Is like, well, what if it's this? What if the situation is actually something more like this? Yes, the gun sales do spike, but because of what they're going to do, what they're going to be able to use this event as is another excuse, another reason to put their feelers out into schools, put their feelers out into public things, you know, and then have people tattling on each other and saying, I think that lady's a little bit crazy. I think you guys need to check her out. Or I think that guy, he looks like the kind of guy that would get a gun and do a whole big shooting, you know, and then people are on that guy and then that guy gets taken out of society, you know, like it's about persecuting people that you don't like, you know,
profiling people now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Profile. I'm just
freestyling, man. I was just lucky to think of the word there. That's a word I'd usually forget. What's that word? Begins with a P. Profile. Yeah. I'm just lucky I remembered that one, man. But you're probably right. They're trying to, like, if you're a flat earther, if you're a conspiracy theorist, they probably put you in that little box, get me, and go, right, he's not allowed guns because he thinks this way, that way, and this way, and it's too extreme.
Yeah. Think about this, though. Now, if they can do the whole mental health thing, they can parlay that into just big, broad, sweeping spectrum of qualifications for people. And then all of a sudden, all these people spend all this money buying all these guns, and then all their guns are legally taken from them through the means of the law. And so those guys are rich, and nobody even has the guns that they spent the money on. And now those people are even more controlled because they were like counting on their guns, and now they don't have that.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, what if it's two-tiered like that, and we're, you know, you're right and I'm right, kind of thing, you know?
It could be, man. It could be. Do you own an arm yourself? Do you own any weapons?
Well, the wisest thing is not to disclose that kind of information. You know what I'm saying?
Why, man? Like, most Americans are quite proud to say, yeah, I own an arm or some shit.
Kung fu. Kung fu.
Kung fu.
There's kung fu to my methodology.
So your guitars, is it like a fucking, they got the guitars behind you, is it like that? What's that film with Antonio Banderas? Was it Desperado? You walk
Yeah.
guitar cases.
No. It's
Right,
just
anyway,
something.
man, like, I've noticed a change in you, man. Like, you got really fucking sort of Christian, well, no Christian, but you really started to believe in the word of Jesus and all this stuff. What made that change, man? What made you suddenly think, right, I'm going to tell people I believe Jesus' words the truth and fucking, and I'm sticking to this shit and praise the Almighty. Like you never used to be like that back in the old days, and suddenly there was a sort of change, and it's what's influenced that, man?
Thing is, man, back in 04, 05, I was in a real rough time. My dad had passed away a couple years prior. I was really just totally going nowhere. I was fucked up, you know. Some people started hanging around me, trying to convince me of this, that, and the other spiritual stuff. And then my old best friend that I grew up with, that I hadn't spoken with in a while, came back into my life. And he's like, you need to come with me and do some Bible study. So we basically I personally read through the Bible a couple times, and then we would sit there with a really, really knowledgeable pastor, and we would do extensive Bible studies. And I was super, super fucking skeptical about everything. And I was coming in with a hard atheist stance coming into these things. And the guy had an answer for every possible thing I could ever ask, any question I could ever ask in the most philosophical, deepest parts of my mind at that time. And this guy, who was really knowledgeable in the Bible, he knew how to interpret, he knew how to he had the concordances, so he could tell you, well, in the ancient Hebrew text, it says this word, and he would say it, and then it says this word. No, this. Now, when they translated that in Greek, they mistranslated this to this, and then when you get to the King James Version, this word actually is a lot more like the ancient text than it is the Greek text. And he knew all this stuff, and he had been in school for this for his whole life, and he was like in his 50s, late 50s at that point. He knew everything you could possibly know, any question you could know about the Bible. And it all made such perfect sense to me, you know. And like, if you think about it, you know, I've always been all about the Creator. Back when my channel started, I used to openly doubt Jesus. I said that in a couple videos. You know, I've said that in my live streams before too.
Sorry, man. I remember one time that you said to me, what was it, Jed thinks he's a Scottish Jesus or something, and it's not. Because I've been looking into this shit as well, like Christianity, the roots. And I looked into the Exodus as well, and the lost tribes, when they go dispersed through the desert and shit. And there's a lot of theories that a lot of the European families, royal families, are connected to these tribes that came from, like, during the Exodus. So it's like, and it's weird because, like, there's a lot of shit that does tie in, because the Queen, she thinks she's got the divine right to rule over Britain. Divine right. And divine right means that you've been given that right for God. And they think there's some kind of line of David. So where the fuck does that come in? I mean, it's like...
Are the Danish the tribe of Dan?
Yep. That's one of them, man. That is one of them. That's one of them, mate. And Dan is meant to be in the Danube River. Danube River and shit like that. And the way... where I sort of led down was, like, the Hebrews weren't Jewish. They weren't Jewish, mate. Hebrews weren't Jews. The word Jew is quite a recent thing compared to back then.
Yeah, the so-called Jews of today are really just Khazars, right? They're Eastern Europeans that had huge fortunes from cattle herding and sheep herding and stuff like that. They were nomads that had, like, major property, right? And
you could almost argue that Jews aren't a race. You could just say that Judaism is a religion, and you get, like, there's an argument. If you're a Jew, is it your race or your religion? If you practice Judaism, VB, you'd be a Jew. It doesn't matter.
Well, aren't there different types of Jewish people, like Hasidic Jews, and then there's
there is different types. Jews.
So are those genetic differences? What are those?
To be honest, mate, I think it's like a mix. I think there's, like, European, because the Jews over in Israel and the Middle East, they seem to be whiter than the rest of the people living there, obviously. And I think that there could have been an Israel at one point. It wasn't called Israel, it was Judah, and what was the other? The northern part. it's like, I think there was people and they've been dispersed. And I think them taking back Israel today is almost like they're taking back something they had hundreds of years ago. Why create Israel? Why is Britain so interested? Why did we sign that Balfour Agreement back in 1945 and say that this is Israel? Like, why were the British so involved in it, man?
Well, I mean,
because I think the British royally think they're part of these Jews that were during the Exodus. They got pushed into Europe from because for hundreds of years, the Assyrians were attacking, and even before Islam was a thing, there was Zoroastrians. They were the Assyrians, and there was no Islam. It was Zoroastrians, and they pushed them as well. So
the Zoroastrians are supposed to have been, according to History Channel, they were the first ever monotheistic religion, and they were like Persian, basically Iranian and Syria. Okay, great.
I'm impressed, man. You know that shit.
Oh yeah, I know all about this stuff. I mean, okay.
And it's even written in their history. They've pushed the Jews out, that Palestine area, like the Jewish people or whoever they were, the Hebrews or whoever they were. So we have got something in history where these people have been pushed to the West. So who's saying that these families in Europe, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but might be part of these tribes? There might be some truth to these tribes. They got pushed into Europe, and now they're just coming back and taking what they think belongs to them in the Middle East.
Well, then that would mean that all the British people, and that would mean all the French people, and all the Spaniards.
Not all of them.
And even the Scots. All y'all would have to have Hebrew bloodlines, genetics in you. Is that the case? I don't think that's the case.
This is the thing that surprised me, man. Right, I looked at the Declaration of Arbroath. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's one of Scotland's most prized documents. It was written back in the 1300s when we wanted to be a proper country. We wanted independence for England, and we were asking the Pope to make us a country. Anyway, in that declaration, it says that the Scots came from a land in Scythia. Have you heard of the Scythians? Scythia? You heard of Scythia, dude?
Yeah.
Scythians or the Scythians, you know what I mean?
I've heard of
and
that.
I thought that was a bit far-fetched, right? I get my DNA tested. I'm 97% European. And the 3% is West Asia, which is like the Caucasus region. It covers Syria, Georgia. It's a massive area, but it covers that. And it's weird, man, because apparently a lot of Scots have got this gene in them that comes from that part of the world, close to the fucking Middle East, mate. So there's something there, man. It's even the black Hebrew Israelites, man. They think that King James was a black guy. Even they come back to Britain. They end up coming back to Scotland and saying he was part of the tribe, whatever tribe, and he was black. So was Shakespeare. So was this guy. So was this guy. Even the black Hebrew Israelites think that King James was a black Scotsman from the Stuart family, and they were connected to the lost tribes. So it keeps coming back to Britain for some reason. It's fucking weird, man. It's like there's something to do with Britain and Israel. There's a deep connection there, whether it's genetically, whether it's just politically or religiously, but there is a deep fucking connection there. I don't know what it is, man.
You think maybe the ancient Hebrew kings could have hid out as what was at that time something that could have been considered culturally more archaic, which was ancient, 1300s.
Possibly.
UK,
Possibly.
England, yeah.
I seen there was a war. I think it was King Herod, and there was a war called the Maccabean Revolution with the Jews. Maccabee. There's people in Scotland called Maccabee. I mean, it's quite a common name, Maccabee, and I'm like, Maccabee. That's a Scottish word. So I wonder if all these uprisings were actually set in Britain. And do you know, this is the motivation. You'd say, well, why would they say it's away in the Middle East, the chosen land, Israel? Well, Britain, if they thought that Britain was the chosen land, this place would be a war zone. So what do? You say the promised land's over there, and everyone's fighting over that fucking place, when really all the shit actually happened in Britain. And they didn't want to say it This is a chosen land. In the Bible, it said that God gave the Jews copper, tin, everything they want, the minerals, gold, silver, all the crops, everything they need. It said that they wouldn't be harassed by any animals. There'd be no predators. Like in Scotland, the worst thing's a midgie. You've got silver, you've got copper. Like Wales was massive for copper in Europe. Like actually in the world, I think it's one of the biggest places for copper. You go to Israel, there's nothing. It's a fucking desert. There's nothing there. And even when you search places like Mount Zion, where fucking what's his name, Moses stood on the hill and fucking you search up, they moved it 3 or 4 times. They've moved it. And then when you look at the patriarchs like Jacob, Israel, the cave of the patriarchs, even Jewish scholars say they didn't think it's real. They didn't think they think it's bullshit. So when I start digging into like Christianity or Judaism in the Middle East, it just ends up fizzling away to bullshit. And I find a lot of it coming back to Britain. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Is Britain the real Israel and we're pretending it's over the Middle East, so they're squabbling and fighting over there, when really in the Bible they're talking about Britain. No fucking, they've just changed the names, they've changed the characters, and just like any fucking story, like you could turn Lord of the Rings into Guardians of the Galaxy, a squad of different races on a fucking journey. There's a bad guy at the end that you have to defeat and save the fucking world. And it's the Bible's the same. You could just change all the characters, change all the places. There you go, Bob's your uncle. You've got a different story set in a different land, set with different characters. But maybe they were based on fucking the island of Britain, which is fucked up.
Okay, well then, all right. That would suggest that King James was in Britain and writing these, or not writing, but translating from Greek, which had been translated from ancient Hebrew text, supposedly. All these stories about these Israeli people. But the thing is, what about those temples? What about that golden dome that's out there in Israel, and the Wailing Wall and all that stuff that everybody's constantly fighting over?
Oh, here's something here, man. There's never been any evidence there's been a Solomon's temple. There's never been any evidence there's been and they reckon that wall, the Wailing Wall, that's meant to be the last remnant. They reckon that was built much later by the Romans, and it was actually built by Antony. Was it Antony? He built one of those walls. Apparently, there's never been a fucking Solomon's temple. They don't even know if Solomon existed. They don't even know if David existed. There's no evidence for it at all. There's nothing. There's nothing there. It's you're practically going by word. I mean, I'm not saying it's all rooted in Britain, but at least in Britain, there's some connections here. Even the Scotland flag, there's the lion rampant. It's a red lion, and you look at the lion, the Israel flag. It's got the Lion of Judah, exactly the same, a blue one. I'm like, what the fuck? Again, even the heraldry is the same. I think these Jewish fuckers think, again, they run in the Scottish royal lines, the English royal lines, French, Dutch, Spanish. I think that these tribes, or these royal families, think they're connected to the tribes during the Exodus. So this is why they're going back. This is why we've got these wars. This is, or just pretending that place is the Middle East. Again, it's like a decoy country. It's like, let's make up a place and they can squabble over that for the next 1,000 years where we live in the promised land. I mean, the real promised land.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But then, so where are you saying? Because see, there's ancient Hebrew, which is the Old Testament, and then there's the New Testament, which is where all of Christianity comes from. And the New Testament is not. They said that the New Testament was written in what, 50, starting being written in what, 50 AD, 50 years after Jesus died, supposedly.
It's so sketchy, VB, man. They said some farmer threw a stone in a cave, hit a fucking, they heard a noise, and suddenly they found the Dead Sea Scrolls and all this shit. It's like, it just manifested suddenly. These Dead Sea Scrolls and the tablets, and was it in Greek? What was it? It was Greek. Was
Aramaic.
It was 3 different languages, eh? Was it Aramaic as well?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Someone had that much knowledge. And not only did they know all those language, but they copied such elaborate and long texts into all these languages. I don't know, man. And then they were just thrown in a cave under some dirt. all that fantastic, very highly detailed, highly fucking valuable work was just tossed in a fucking hole.
Well, we know they can fake. We know they can fake these artifacts, because have you seen that? What's it with the Jesus imprint? The Turin. What's
The
it?
Shroud of Turin. I watched a video on that yesterday, man. Yeah, it was the 3D imaging of the Shroud of Turin, and they showed him, and he looked like Randy Macho Man Savage, basically.
But for fucking years, mate, people believed that shit. People believed that was Jesus's imprint on the fucking, and people are still going to churches thinking there's pieces of the cross and tiny little bitty wood inside a fucking case, and they'll flock and give money, and just to see this wee little shitty and it could all be just made up, man.
I know, man. But I mean, I was doing some research on the what is it, the stone, the Rosetta Stone.
Yep.
Okay, and I ended up looking at the guy who supposedly found it, and he's this little twerpy guy. It looks kind of weird, and the whole thing just didn't make sense to me. It's like, how old do they? Well, first off, how old do they say that Egypt really goes? How far back does Egypt really go? Like 40,000 years, or do they only say like 3,000 years? Or am I confused? Because I've heard of all these ancient civilizations that supposedly go back 40,000 years, 25,000 years. And then I was doing all this research, and I find that Egypt is only alleged to have gone back 3,000 years.
Yep.
But I mean, am I tripping?
No, no, that's quite. I think the oldest civilization that they've kind of discovered is it Gebli Tepe in Turkey? Is it Gebli Tepe? It's like these T-shaped stones. They're meant to be 10,000 years old. 10, same again. 10,000 years old.
Okay, so maybe these numbers I'm just exaggerating in my head, right? Like when I've heard the Sumerians go back 40,000 years.
No, I don't think it goes. I think we're starting to go back into Neanderthal times, man.
Okay.
Because I think even Neanderthals were meant to have went extinct only like 15,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. They reckon it was that late that Neanderthals were still kicking around.
See, man.
Do you believe the whole Neanderthal stuff, man?
No, I just don't.
Nah.
I just don't, man. I just don't. I find it so hard to believe anything, man.
You don't think there was any other humans that were on this planet before us?
I mean, it's possible that if you want to look at things in the traditional biblical sense, there could have been whole other races of people that existed, and God, didn't create them. He created them to live and everything, but he didn't give them that soul, the soul. He didn't give them the breath of life, and they were meant to just be animals, and they died off, and they were maybe an experiment or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. We don't know anything about history. There's really no way of really knowing, because everybody has an agenda. And the only reason anyone is ever going to say that, oh, the Bible was from my hometown, and we found these artifacts that prove, my country is this or that and the other. It's all just for power. Anyone could just make up history and say that it means X, Y, Z. And since we already believe in other traditions inherently as a society, as cultures, then when we get this new evidence from someone, they said that makes all these claims and sets it all up nice for them to where they now inherit the world. Mm-hmm. That's, it's all about trying to inherit the world and claim ownership, and like, kind of, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's kind of like what you were doing just now. You're like, well, I think that all Christianity and the whole Bible all comes from Scotland.
No, I don't think that all comes. I said Britain, man. I said Britain.
Okay. All right.
But you got to remember, VB, man. See, when the Romans were in Britain, they were still polytheistic. They didn't believe in Jesus. They didn't believe in fucking Abraham and fucking Moses. They still believed in all the Hellenistic gods and the Greek ones, the Romans, when they came over to Britain. So when they were over here, they were fucking pagans, man. And how do you know they've not had a culture exchange? And I'm not saying that Scotland produced Christianity, because Christianity wouldn't have been a word used in Scotland, because Christ, like I'm saying that Jesus Christ maybe was a different person. He was maybe called Robert fucking Smith. So like, like the Romans have seen Robert Smith's crusade, and he was preaching the one God in Britain and said, wait a minute, maybe this could work over in Rome. But we'll not call it Robert Smithyism. We'll call it Christianism. Go away, Christianism. And it's like, and instead of fucking Hamish being the first guy, we'll call him Adam. And instead of kind of, it's like, and that's what I'm saying, man. Hadrian built a wall here, and he was a fucking pagan, man. They were all pagans when they came over here. And for some reason, Ireland and Scotland had Christianity before places like Lithuania, who are much closer. There's certain countries that are closer to the Middle East that stayed pagan up to like the 15th century. Well, in fucking Britain, we were turning to Christianity in the 500. Like when the Romans were pissing off, like there was the saints, the fucking Irish saints going around fucking preaching. And what the fuck? And what happened there? Why did it skip half the world? You know what I mean? It's like...
Well, Christianity depends heavily on the Abrahamic Judeo foundation.
Yep.
So I guess that makes sense if it's really all happening from what we now call Israel to the west of that, which, from Israel basically to the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I could see that your theory does make some sense.
But even back then, that place wasn't called Israel, man. In Roman times, it wasn't called Israel. It was called Canaan. The Canaanite for that place. Again, it was like that was called Canaan. And funnily enough, in Scotland, there's a place called Cana. Get what I mean? It's fucking. And there's a place. What was the other place in Scotland? Lewis, kind of Islay Lewis, and you got the tribe of Levi, Lewis. If you look at Lewis and Levi, they're practically.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, who are the Levites then?
The Levites, Lewis, I think, because
LEW, not LOU, because LOU would be French.
Yeah.
LEW would have to be what, Scottish?
Lewites, Levites, Lewites.
Yeah, but what is that? Would that be considered English, just English in general, or Welsh, like LEW, Lewis?
It could be Brittonic.
Brittonic is okay, because isn't there like Welsh and Scottish and British or English, and they're slightly different?
Yep. Well, the original, the indigenous Scottish people, VB, were Picts. They're called Picts, Picts. The Romans called them Picts. They didn't call themselves Picts. They called
Pickney?
Picts. Painted people, And they spoke Brittonic. And then the Gaels came over for Ireland. And it's funny because Scotland, we identify ourselves with Gaelic. The Gaelic is the national language, and that's our proper language. And all this shit is no. The real fucking Scots were Brittonic. The Gaels invaded Scotland. The Gaels were in. I'm a Gael. My genetics say I'm a fucking Gael. So I was one of these. My ancestors were one of these cunts that came over to Scotland and conquered the place and took over a new language practically.
Okay. Is that an insult to call someone Pickney? Does that have anything to do with the Picts?
Pickney? What's that? Pickney?
I don't know. I thought that was like a term that was used.
No, man.
A descriptive slang for like a region over there. Maybe I'm completely fucking ignorant, bro. I'm sorry.
No, man, I've never heard the Pickney, but I've heard the Picts. But anyway, like I said, the whole of Scotland were controlled by the Picts, and then the Irish came over, and then the English came up. So it's weird. And then the Vikings came over. So we're a mix mash of everything, man. Like Britain is really a mix mash of everything. Even the Anglo-Saxons were Germanic. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot of German genetics in England. There's loads of Viking genetics. But funnily enough, I've avoided both of them. It's just fucking weird. I've got no Scandinavian and no Germanic. For a country that's been invaded by Vikings and fucking... Oh.
That's just me.
Cool.
That's just me. Okay.
Aye, for a country that's been invaded by Vikings and fucking Germanic tribes, Anglo-Saxons, I've got none of that in my genetics. So my ancestors must have been cowering in a cave somewhere in fucking Ireland or Scotland, just avoiding all that shit, man. Vikings and fucking the other invaders. It's weird, man. You never thought about getting your own DNA tested, see how Polish you really are?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I went to Poland. I went to Poland back in 2001.
What city did you go to? Warsaw. You're going to say Warsaw, eh?
Yeah, it was somewhere. Oh no, it was actually Poznan, 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 and they call it Posen, even though it's Poznan. And wait, I don't know. Maybe that might be Germany. I don't know. I was in Poland, okay, and it was funny because I was playing in a band, and we were like, like a hardcore punk rocky kind of deal, whatever. And we were with other bands. We were touring around with a band called The Business, and they're like skinheads, right? So over in Poland, everybody there that was at this show, because we were just a little side opening act. The real main act, they were all about their oi, oi and shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Have
and
you heard
pogo.
Of the Exploited?
Oh, fucking Barmy Army, bro.
Yeah,
you're talking about
my mate's uncle's in the band. Like,
oh, really?
They're for Edinburgh, man. They're for Edinburgh.
Okay, yeah. Watty.
That's my mate's uncle. It's like, I didn't even know who the fuck they were because I wasn't into punk, and he used to go around with the Exploited t-shirt on, with a spike. It was like it looked like the Diesel. Have you seen the Diesel badge for Diesel? It's like a face with spikes, but the Exploited was a skull with like spikes. But I was never into that shit. It was too heavy for me, man.
Yeah, I owned many Exploited albums, many Exploited t-shirts, saw them live, I think twice, maybe once, I don't know. But the band we were with was skinheads, and they were the specific subgenre of punk music, and they were sharps. So they were skinheads against racial prejudice. So they were like the ones that would come in there, and they looked like the neo-Nazi skinheads. They wore the same suspenders, the same boots, the same tucked in white
W's in disguise.
Yeah. And they wore the same outfit, but then they had a different color shoelace, so you knew they were on a different team. So they were like a gang, a faction. And so at some of the shows, like when we were in Poland, there was a bunch of Nazis that came, and they looked almost exactly like the sharps. And there was just like, bottles getting sliced into faces, fucking people going into hospitals and ambulances, rocks getting thrown at people's heads, Molotov cocktails getting tossed in there. It was nasty, bro. And we had to like hide in the back of the building and shit like that because the fucking band we were with were starting fucking race riots, and people had come in on a train. They said that there was like 50 fucking Nazi skinheads that had come in on a train and showed up at this venue to fight. Because there was no guns, thank goodness, but they just came there to fight because they heard the sharps were coming in town, and it's a fucking fight because we're still fucking skinheads, we're still Nazis or whatever, So we're like all involved in this shit. But no, when we were in Poland, man, I had my fucking head shaved. I didn't realize that was a really bad thing to do. Everybody thought I was one of them, man. I looked exactly like a lot of these fucking guys over there. So I was like, man, I think I am. I'm pretty sure I'm Polish, man. It was like, look, it's your fucking. There's like 1,000, 1,000 of you over here,
Oh, well, there's a good chance because I know that the East of America, there was a lot of Polish immigrants over there. And Eastern Europeans went over to that side of America. So there's a good chance that...
Well, yeah, my dad moved up into the Illinois, Indiana area. And up there was just huge whole... like all around Chicago, there was a whole area that was all Polish and German.
Mm-hmm.
It was called...
Polish, yeah?
Yeah. Munster, that kind of stuff, Mm-hmm. Gary, Indiana, the whole area right around Chicago there was back in the day when my dad's family moved there, it was all Polish people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm pretty confident that I'm Polish. I don't know.
You ain't get a Polish Jew.
I'm a Jew. No, if anyone's Jewish,
Polish
Timmy
Jew,
Osmond.
No.
No.
You think Tim's a Jew with his Jew car? Was it a Ford Jew or something?
Like, I couldn't believe Tim owned a fucking Ford, man. Ford is like
a Ford Fiesta.
They fucking sell Fords in Scotland. Oh God, man, really? I'm surprised, man. Ford's the worst, man. It's like the shittiest car, man.
Oh,
they were the first one
for years, mate.
Wow, man. Ford found on roadside dead. That's what Ford's supposed to stand for. Found on road dead.
Oh, the Ford Escort was one of the most fancied cars over here. Cosworth, Ford Escort Cosworth. Everybody loved that fucking car over here in the 90s, man.
Yeah, I mean Ford has a bad reputation of just being a piece of shit in the States, even though it was the first company. It used to be the cornerstone of American automaking, and it just became this just joke. And now if you're an intelligent American, you buy a German car first, and if you can't afford that, you buy a Japanese car second. And an American car. Oh yeah, you barely even have to repair them. They're just made so well. They're made so much better. And the Dodge, that's an American car. Chrysler, those all suck. Jeep is cool, but it's expensive as fuck. And if something breaks, it's costing you an arm and a leg to fix, just like you said.
Well, we had a Volkswagen Polo. It was a brilliant little car. It's a little German hang getting in. The
Volkswagen.
The car we've got now is a total gas guzzler, man. I think it's like a 2.4 liter. It's a Hyundai Turag, some shit like that. It's a 4x4. It's a 4x4 thing. It's a big South Korean cheap fucking car, but it just guzzles gas, man. It's fucking. But with the snow here, it's good because it's 4x4, so it's 4-wheel drive.
Okay, yeah. So you need that kind of stuff around there. You got lots of hills and stuff over there.
Aye, and the kids as well. I've got the buggy and all that shit. I can just put the buggy in the back. It's easier. It's easier to put shopping and buggies and shit like that. So, but we're gonna get rid of it, man. It's just too much to run. It's like 2.4 liter or something. It's fucking. It's still a beast. That's a beast around here. Like I know in America it's like 5 liter and 6 liter, but here if you're over 2 liter, you're getting powerful. It's like a gas guzzler.
Yeah. I mean, so I've seen you make videos where you're out in some hills. Is that near where you live, or is that a little drive away?
Window, man. I can see them from a window.
Okay.
That's my view from a window, man.
Wow. So I mean, I thought you were kind of in the city though.
I am in the city, man. But
then how the fuck do you got rolling hills and shit?
Alright, man. That's what Scotland's like, man. Scotland's like fucking hills, cities. I mean, you can't remove the fucking hills. You just need to live around them, sort of thing. I mean,
how fucking romantic is that? I bet it's just fucking stunning, beautiful over there, man.
It's beautiful, man. I am biased. It's maybe biased, but it's fucking beautiful. When I hear people say, flat earthers going, when you look outside, all you see is flat. When I look outside, all I see is fucking hills. You know what I mean? Hills, fucking. I never see a flat piece of land in Scotland. It's fucking hills everywhere, man.
Yeah. No, some of the best shit I've ever seen in my life, though, is when I was on that same tour back in 2001. Man, we went through like Norway, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, and shit. I mean, that shit is fucking gorgeous, man, isn't it?
Oh, that puts Scotland to shame with the mountains, getting the Swiss Alps and shit like that. That makes Scotland fucking small.
And they got these little gingerbread towns. They're just like so fucking adorable little towns that are super fucking clean. You know what I'm saying? Super clean, super quaint. Really, really, it feels like you're in a park, but it's like where everybody lives there. It's the city, but it just feels like a really calm, quiet, chilled out park. And some of the locals, when we were in one of the towns, are like, yeah, all this whole beautiful city that you see all around you is all Nazi money. That's what they told me. Yeah, they said this is all Nazi money that was hoarded away here, and then people just found their way into getting it or whatever. Or
the Swiss seem to have a fucking good system, though. The Swiss, they've got. I'm sure firearms are legal in Switzerland, but they've got like a Swiss Guard and all this shit. It's different from other states in Europe. Switzerland.
Yes, I know. How big of a deal is Sweden over there? Is Sweden looked at as like a joke, or is Sweden looked at as a pretty powerful nation?
Nah, Sweden's seen as a Scandinavian country in Europe, and Scandinavian countries are usually quite educated. They've got a good education system, but they're quite social. They're quite socialistic countries. Yeah. So they're actually destroying their own. Like the Swedish people are disappearing, mate, because they're letting in so many immigrants for other countries. It's just they're destroying. It's like a self-destruction in their own culture. They're destroying their own fucking culture. It's disgusting. It's strange,
you know, like the Nordic region, those people, the Scandinavian region, excuse me, those are the people that were coming out and doing all the exploring in the world, you know. So it's almost like they have no respect for their own homeland because they're born to travel, right? And so they don't give up.
Was it Rasmussen? It was one of the North Pole guys. Was it North Pole? I think he was Swedish. So. Rasmussen. Maybe he was Norwegian. Close enough.
Yeah. Well, the Scandinavian countries are stunning. They're fucking beautiful. But like you said, the people there are in a lot of trouble right now.
Yep.
Letting all the fucking immigrants in. You know that Red Ice Radio? They talk about that stuff all the time. You ever used to listen to Red Ice Radio?
No, I think I used to listen to it back in the day, like
long time ago, right? Yeah.
I think I used to tune in now and again, but
yeah, they went from being a show that talked about all kinds of interesting subjects to focusing on this major immigration crisis that they're suffering through right now, and that's all that this channel talks about anymore. It's like race relations.
Would you even go as far? Because I've seen people saying this. Would you go as far to say it's called white genocide? Because they look under a definition of like genocide and it says to like overpopulate and take over a culture till it doesn't exist and stuff like that. It doesn't mean killing people. It doesn't always, genocide doesn't mean killing people. It's like when a culture disappears altogether, that could be cultural genocide.
Stopping their birth rate, their replacement rate. That's that. But is that genocide? That's people choosing to not reproduce.
Exactly.
But it's because their homeland is being taken away from them by invaders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and believe it or not, that same thing is kind of happening in Florida too at the same time.
Do you think you guys never get the same sympathy because everyone thinks that Americans were the invaders to begin with, and yous are just fucking like, and yous are moaning about people coming over when yous were the people going over to begin with, kind of thing. Like, I'm indigenous to this country. I can proudly say that the country I live in, I'm fucking an indigenous person. Well, half of my genetics is indigenous to this. Actually, 80% of my genetics are indigenous to these islands. Could you say the same for yourself?
Well,
so then,
technically,
you couldn't, and then you've got to think, well, why can you complain about something like immigration, which is
I know, but the thing is also, it's been, according to commonly accepted history, it's accepted that since the Europeans came to America 400 something years ago, that as much reproducing as we've done, this is pretty much our land now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we did hijack it from indigenous populations, but we've produced way more people on this land than they ever could have if we would have just left them alone and left this land alone. There would be no way that the Native Americans would ever have populated as much as all the European invaders have.
It's kind of, you have to be pragmatic and you have to drop the social justice shit, and you think about the people going over there, and you think about the indigenous people wouldn't have wanted them, and there would have been trade, and there would have been, but at the end of the day, you know yourself, it's like the strongest survive. It is the strongest survive. When it comes down to, when it comes to the raw fucking just animalistic side of humans, it's about getting your fucking territory, getting your fucking stuff, kind of like water, food, everything that you need, and sticking to your own. Like they would. Back in those days, with Americans, the first people in America, they wouldn't be thinking about SJW shit, like, oh, you know, this SJW stuff. That wouldn't have even been in their fucking mind. They're just thinking, we need to find a bit of land where it's safe, we can have fresh water, fresh food, and can survive. And they're not thinking about other races. They don't think, oh, the poor Indians and shit like that. That didn't even come into their minds. It's brutal. It's brutal, right? It's brutal, but that's just the way it was.
Yeah. But I mean, what are you trying to get at, though? What's the bigger point there?
The bigger point is like
the strong survive.
Well, the people that went over there, they had the technology, and they had guns, they had fucking, and it's like anywhere. Same with the Scots. Like I said, with the Scots, the original Scots were Picts. With the Picts. And we practically wiped them out. We've practically wiped out the original Scottish people who were here. My ancestors included. You know what I mean? But half of my genetics are the Picts. So I think there's been a sort of like mixing, where you mix that much where the culture disappears because you just mix with them. And I think the Gaels mixed with the Picts so much. They didn't wipe them out in a genocide. They just bred with them, bred till the culture eventually disappeared.
How do you know that when you sent your genetic test off, how much other information did you give them? Did you give them your name? You had to give them your name, right?
I know, but I gave them my name that my mom got when she remarried for a second. See, my name I have now is Mitchell. Have you seen it? Jed Mitchell,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Right, yeah. But my birth certificate name is Wolf. Right? That's my dad. That's my real genetic fucking Irish fucking name, Wolf. But like, I got Mitchell because my mum remarried and all this shit, and our names changed and shit. Like, she wanted everyone to have the same names and shit like that. So I turned into a Mitchell. So I gave them Mitchell, thinking they're going to try and pull out the name genetics. Nah. It was all Irish. Like, half it was Irish. I didn't give them the Wolf name, and Wolf is Irish. So I thought if I gave them the name Wolf, they're just going to take information just for that name and give me a lot of bullshit. So I gave them Mitchell, but I still got my dad's Irish ancestry back. Okay, I was trying to trick them in a way by giving them my second surname, Mitchell, which isn't Irish.
Right.
And I still came back with Irish results.
Okay. You know well, did you give them your address or like what?
No, I didn't give them your address, man. Oh well, I suppose you do give them your address because you need the shit. You need the stuff sent to your place.
Yeah. So basically, they could.
You reckon they've gathered all this information rather than the genes? Like, just
they look at your face. They look at your face and they average your face out amongst people that have this shape eyebrows and this shape jaw, or these dimensions between their cheekbones and their eyeballs or whatever fucking mathematics things.
I think that can be done, man. I think that can be done without using like genetics. I think there is an art in looking at people. Anthropology, obviously, you look at anthropology, and if you study anthropology, you can actually look at a skull and determine its race. Do you know that? Like, do you know, like, Europeans have got square eye sockets and Africans have got round eye sockets and shit like that. So when you see skulls, you can actually determine face shapes, bone structure, like cheekbones. Like, white guys, man, we've been like tarnished with these fucking bones that stick out our face, man. Like this bone above our eyebrows. Again, black people didn't have this, man. Like the ridge, this fucking thing here. Like black people didn't have this, man. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, hang on. Like, you're a fucking
Neanderthal, man.
Exactly, mate. So I think you're right. I think there is certain aspects of anthropology you can look at someone's face and determine their genetics.
Yeah,
but it's not the full story, I don't think.
It's not a full story. Yeah,
I don't think it's a full story. I think they're just giving you the closest result they think they can give you. I think. You know what I mean? It's no 100% genetics.
Yeah, but how crazy is it? How crazy is it when let's say you're 10 years old and you're in grade school, and you know this guy and he looks a certain way, okay, and very distinct face, and then 20 years later you're at a theme park. And you see some other guy that has no fucking relation whatsoever to that other person, and they look like they could have been father and son or two brothers, and they just look exactly the fucking same. You've seen people like that, and you're like, man, that guy reminds me of. Even it can even be a girl that reminds you of a guy, or a guy that reminds you of some girl that you knew, and you're like, damn, they look like that could be that girl's fucking brother, like twin brother and shit. But they have no. Have
you ever looked at Papua New Guinea? Have you ever looked at the country Papua New Guinea?
No, where is that? Where is that geographically?
It's near Australia. It's like one of the big islands floating. I think it's close to like Asia. It's like floating off Australia, but it's close to Asia. It's a big fucking island there. But a lot of them still practice cannibalism and shit like that. But see, when you look at those people, the women look like the men. The men, is it just me? I think it's like the joke with fucking Family Guy. Remember when Peter goes to like China and he goes, "There's Jackie Chan. There's Jackie Chan. There's Jackie Chan." And then Jackie Chan goes to America and goes, "There's Ethan Hawke. There's Ethan Hawke. There's Ethan Hawke." And is that the way we see it? When we're part of a different race, we see everybody as the same. but they all look different to each other, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But one really wise thing that Red Ice Radio said one time when because there's a guy and a girl, I think they're married or something like that. She has her own thing. She made a brilliant point once. Within the so-called white Caucasian race, there is way more diversity than any other race has within itself. Oh, like Asians pretty much look Asian. They all have jet black hair and black eyeballs and yellow colored skin, and they're all generally short. And you know what I'm saying? And then you got Africans. They definitely have dark skin. They have certain features. Certain hair is different than European hair, for example. But within the white race, you got full on gingers. You got blondes. You know, your look, my look. Yeah, your look, my look.
Brown.
Italians, Greeks. Even Persians consider themselves Caucasian and white, you know? They consider themselves the true Aryans because they have the blue eyes, right?
You probably think I'm an asshole for saying this, but see, like, if it's true that we all began in Africa, right? Just say the whole human fucking civilization was in Africa, right? And then some Africans stayed and some Africans left, right? The Africans that left, they adapted to the environment. They had to get lighter because it was colder and shit like that. And they turned into Europeans, but then they mated with the fucking Neanderthals. There's actually Neanderthal. They reckon there's Neanderthal DNA. That's what makes us different. That's what gives us the ridge bone. That's what gives us these fucked up features on our faces, man. I mean, because we are inbreeds. Africans are more fucking human than Europeans. Because Neanderthal wasn't a fucking Homo sapien. They are more human than us. We are more of a hybrid. And that's why I think Europeans have been successful, because we are hybrids.
Oh, man. You fucking racist, bro.
Oh, man. We're hybrids. They're more human than us. Yeah, Africans are more human than us.
Yeah, more Cro-Magnon rather than Neanderthal, right?
They are more human than us. We're mongrels. We are fucking mongrels. But that's what, if you look at the dog world, the mongrels are the most successful. They're the ones that didn't get as much disease. They're the ones that get the best from both worlds. And you get the breeds, you get the pedigree breeds, like Labradors and shit. They live for about 7-8 years. They die because their back legs go. They're too bred with each other. So I think the reason why Europeans took that step further than the rest of the world is because we did interbreed with other things. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe, man, but these things were supposed to be lesser than Cro-Magnon.
No. Well, if you think back to early humans, language, shit like that, Neanderthals were meant to be quite advanced. Actually, Neanderthals were meant to be bigger than the modern human, like bigger, built, taller.
Bigger brain.
And bigger brain as well. Because
but see, according to
we are hybrids, mate. Europeans are fucking hybrids. We're not even real. We're not even full-on humans.
According to a history, well, okay, but according to a History Channel thing that I saw, it was showing Neanderthals and it was showing Cro-Magnons. It was supposed to be this accurate depiction, you know, the most scientific, up-to-date thing at the time. Had to been early 2000s, and it was showing the Cro-Magnons looking a lot more like Native Americans. They were, you know, human. They looked human, and they were throwing darts, and they had all these crafts and skills and tricks and tools and all this advanced stuff. And then they were showing the Neanderthals, and Neanderthals are just like naked with a fucking lambskin over and a fucking wood club and like a big dumb head going oogie boogie.
I think that's been a false depiction of the Neanderthal for a long time. I think that modern humans and Neanderthal, maybe modern humans wiped out the Neanderthal, but during war, rape happened. We know rape, pillage, all that shit happens. Who knows that maybe during the modern Africans leaving Africa and then fighting, maybe there was a war between Neanderthals. Maybe that's why Neanderthals don't exist anymore, because the modern humans came, took over, raped, pillaged, took some bits and pieces, and we took on their genetics whilst it happened, and we've changed because of it. We look like this. We look totally different from other races. You know what I mean?
What you're saying makes sense, because then let's say the more human and, you know, the more human ones raped the Neanderthal females, okay, and impregnated them, and then those offspring would then be the combination offspring. So they would not only have the intelligence of the Cro-Magnon, but the physical strength of the Neanderthal.
Exactly.
So they would be more alpha. They would be the ones that produce more. And then you get people like us with the brow ridge.
Exactly. You're exactly, mate. You've kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Okay.
And that's modern. That's mainstream science saying this shit. We're not just pulling this out of the YouTube channels that are fucking talking about. This is meant to be real science, mate. This is meant to be real genetic science. VB, could you give me 5 minutes so I could like refresh myself and do shit, and I'll be back soon. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, no problem, man. No problem.
Sorry, you can talk to the chat and shit like that, mate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Imagine Jed on speed. That's what Ute says. VB, why would anyone mate Neanderthal with makeup and shit? LOL. Oh man, Leeds rules. Let's see, Leeds rules. Face is in here. Head upside down. Andres. Whew. Synonym. Synonym says out of Africa theory is debunked. Horse wearing people costume. Most dynamic chat participants. Face, Leeds rules, Nathan Oakley's dresser, Validation Boy, and Ute. Man, this is a killer little show. We got a killer little discussion we got going on here. Now that Jed's taking a break, I think I'm going to take a short break too. But what I'm going to do is keep myself available so that if Jed does come back, I'll be right there to answer him. John LeBon, do you want a link to this show? I'm not saying I'll give you one. And if I do give you one, it won't necessarily be anytime soon. But do you want a link to this show, John LeBon? Respond in the chat. Otherwise, see you guys when Jed returns.
Oh man, that was so good. Oh, I was pissing like a racehorse, and I was like, you know, as when you get older, it's like, and when I was younger, like it was like a fucking 10-second piss. Now you go for a piss, it's like. It's like I fart every time I piss now. What the fuck is that?
Oh man. No, we're getting old, man. We're getting old. It's the beer, is what it is, man.
Right.
There's all kind of.
I was going to mention something, man. It's a wee bit controversial. I don't know why I put you on the spot. Right. Remember, we used to sort of get along back in the day. Like, we never really spoke one-to-one, but we used to share emails and shit.
Oh, yeah. We had a nasty, nasty little fucking run of emails to each other.
Right. What the fuck was that, man?
That was me. I'll give you the full breakdown. I was hyper paranoid. Timmy had sniped my show. I still wasn't sure why. I figured it out. It was because Vlad put the fucking address on the screen. Timmy grabbed it, fucking came on my show. I had been talking shit, nasty shit about Timmy at the time, and I deserved it, basically. He came on, he got his revenge. I suspected you. I thought that if you gave him my email address, then he had some kind of weird powers, you know, just so ignorant of all this technology. I've never been a computer guy. It's like a struggle. It used to be a struggle for me to remember how to start a live stream. For the first like 5 times I did it, I was like, what am I supposed to fucking do again? Oh, damn it. I had to watch videos and shit on how to fucking do it and shit. You know, it's a pain in the ass. But I thought that you were somehow to blame for some misfortune I had. So I accused you of some shit. And then you were like, fuck you. And I was like, no, well, fuck you. And I took it to another level. And then you took it to another level. And we just tried to outdo each other. And it just was stupid.
It was stupid, man.
Yeah.
I never, like I said, VB, I never give your fucking shit out and all that details, man. I was quite surprised when you sent me that email. I was like, what the fuck? So I did turn a wee bit nasty. But I did that to everybody. Like, people were quite surprised how cold I can turn. Eventually, like, I can be this, ha ha ha, and next minute I could be like, fuck you, and drop you. Kind of like that. fuck off then. You know what I mean? And people are like, whoa, wait a minute.
That's a sign of intelligence, man. That's a sign of intelligence. You don't tolerate any bullshit. You're not going to spend a minute of your life suffering anybody's fucking bullshit and little issues they have in their head. If they got a problem they need to work out on their own time, that's for you, buddy. I'm not going to waste my moments of my life. A man's time is one of his most precious fucking commodities, bro. There's no need to waste it on a woman who doesn't fucking appreciate you or a fucking friend who doesn't appreciate you. So
women, have you checked your demographics lately on your channel?
I know I used to have like a 10 to 13% female viewership. It's probably down in like the 7 or 8 now.
Do you know what reminds us?
What?
It's like 20-odd% women. It's like, fuck's sake, man. And do you know what the age is? It's like over 40. It's like between 45 and 60 or something. When you look at the analytics and you see the bar chart again, it's got the wee bars going along and the ages and all that shit. I was like, holy shit, man, I've got like a bunch of old women watching me.
Yeah. That's, yeah. You can only imagine what they're up to. When Jetty Boy's on at 1 a.m. in U.S. time on a lonely Saturday night.
Oh God!
What if they got? What if they got GED Skeptic Media live streaming? They got them down at the fucking retirement home. They got you on the big screen, and they're all just sitting. Ooh, oh, Jed. I think it's short for Gerard.
Come on, I learned the other day there. Guess what Mike Tyson's middle name is?
What?
Gerard. The same as me.
Oh, damn. Yeah, it is too.
Mike Gerard Tyson. I was like, yes, man. At least someone's got that shitty name.
No, man. I've been watching a lot of not a lot, but I've watched certain events in the Olympics because I really, really love short track and I really love Super G and I really love skeleton. Those are the 3 most dangerous and 3 fastest sports. And I only like those. I don't watch anything else. I just can't stand it. It's all so boring. But I love Super G, where it's just a race from the top of the hill straight down on skis. And there's they get a little bit of air, and it's all about taking turns the right way. And you got to fucking nail everything and shit. And you just see people just elevating their game and fucking beating each other and breaking records back to back to back to back. It's fucking. I get like a big rush. Me and my woman, we get a big rush. We watch that shit. We watch like the fucking what was it? Short track, and it's like 500 meters, just a dash. It's like what, like 4 or 5 times around the track. And their skates like come right up into each other's like faces and stuff. And man, it's so badass. And then on skeleton, I think in the last Olympics in 2000, I think someone died doing the skeleton.
Aye. Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
It's Sochi.
Yeah.
I think it was in Sochi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Skeleton is fucking, it amazes me, man. They just go down head first, not even strapped to their little ice skate with their arms to their side. And they steer with, they're risking their lives, man, or paralysis,
I would never do it, man.
And they go so fucking fast, bro, and it just blows my mind. It's so addicting to me, man. I don't know. It's like I like that. That's a real sport to me, and it's all about speed and just beating someone else's time. That I love that shit, man. And like so. Anyways, there was a guy that was dominating the short track, the whole fucking event, the whole scope of events, because the 1500, the 1000, the 500, all that shit. His name was Samuel Gerard, and he was from Canada. Shit, but it's with a GI though, and I think it's like a French thing, so it's not really Gerard like your name. But yeah, but the guy dominated everything, and then when it came down to the 500, he was the one that didn't medal. It's like, come on, bro. I was rooting for that guy the whole fucking time, man, and then he just failed, and it's like total fail, man. All Koreans beat him.
I've not seen much of it, but I like watching the downhill snowboard. There's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Snowboard, man. Oh, it's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
It's not a long race. There's only about maybe 4 or 5 jumps, but those 4 or 5 jumps can decide the whole fucking outcome of the race. Because I haven't
even looked into snowboard. Is that another speed event like that?
It's downhill snowboard. There's 6 of them go off and race against each other down a track. 6 of them, like side by side. They're actually bungling like each other and shit, and then going over ramps, going over jumps as well.
Okay, so let me ask you this: when their heat ends, are they judged on a point system combined of jump skills and speed, or is it strictly speed?
It's strictly speed race. The first to the bottom wins.
So if you get the right kind of air, you're actually going to get better speed.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out, man. I just love those really, really fucking anxiety riddled, fucking high tension fucking events like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like before the snowboard, because I think this is quite a new one, the snowboard one where they're racing against each other. It's quite a new one. But the skeleton was always my favorite, or the bobsleigh. And like, I was fucking terrifying watching that shit, man. Like even just the bobsleigh, never mind the skeleton. Because you're going to be fucked up if you crash in a bobsleigh with 3 guys in it. And it's
the 3-man bobsled, yeah. That's pretty intense, yeah. So I know you're a big fan of MMA. Now that Conor McGregor is basically, now that he's gone, who's the new hot name?
I think it's Nurmagomedov. I think it's kind of, have you heard that? He's a sort of, I think he's from Russia or Georgia. He wears this white fucking hat. It's like a fluffy hat.
like Super Mario?
Nah, not Super Mario. It's like a white fucking, it looks like a fucking, have you never seen him? Nurmagomedov. But he was going to fight Conor McGregor and all this shit, and it never worked out. But he's meant to be the hottest shit in that division. In that division.
Is that the division you prefer?
John Jones in the heavyweight division that nobody thinks they can beat. Cormier got beat from him, but then Jones failed the drug test, so Cormier kind of never lost. You know what I mean? So, and they're talking about Floyd Mayweather competing in UFC, and guess who's going to fight? CM Punk. Punk.
Oh man, come on, man. That's like, that'll be garbage, man. Those guys don't have any technique. Oh, that'll be garbage, man.
Oh, so that should be interesting if Mayweather does fight CM Punk.
Who's the guy that destroyed CM Punk? Who's the guy that whipped his ass?
Oh, he was just a young dude, man. He wasn't even a well-known dude. It was like, I think they thought CM Punk might have a chance. But the boy was undefeated. He was a young guy. I can't even remember his name. Good-looking dude. He was like a good-looking motherfucker.
He didn't go on to greatness after beating CM Punk?
No, not because no one took CM Punk seriously in the MMA world. They were like, why should he be allowed to fight, get these opportunities when I've been fighting all this time and I still don't get a contract with UFC, and he just walks right in because he's a wrestler. So a lot of people didn't support CM Punk joining UFC. Yeah.
Well, Vince McMahon returned the favor in wrestling by having Ronda Rousey fucking walk right in and she's going straight to a main event of WrestleMania.
So what happened with Brock Lesnar? Did he punch somebody for real or some shit? Like I heard that happened with Brock Lesnar.
Okay, all right. So, oh man, this is great. All right, so there's a wrestler named Braun Strowman, and he's this huge motherfucker. He's badass. When he first came out in wrestling, he was part of this faction that was really hot at the time. And they were very popular, but he was like the dud of the group. He had no charisma. He was shit on the microphone. Because in wrestling, it's all about your charisma and your facial expressions and all the emoting and stuff. And he was garbage in that department, but he was massive. He was huge. People wanted to see more from him. People just gave up on him. But eventually he developed. He got training backstage. He did something. He became a real deal. He became like a very valuable asset to the wrestling, to the company. And now they give him free reign on the microphone. He has this whole character where he's this dominant monster that is like basically invincible. He'll take like several chair shots to the face and he'll just sit up and just come back and start killing you again and stuff. And he's like this immortal it's so scary and shit. He's like scarier even than the Undertaker was, you know.
I was going to say that. It sounds like the Undertaker. Remember when the Undertaker used to get knocked in and he just came back up like that?
Yeah, exactly. You'd like do the worst possible thing you could do to someone, like run him over with a fucking Mack truck, and then he just sits up, you know? So that's what this guy is. Like they threw him off that, you know, oh man, I'm not even going to get into it, but some really, really super violent next level shit that's kind of unprecedented in wrestling in WWE history has happened with this guy Strowman. This guy, he's a really lovable guy though. They've turned him from a bad guy, a really dominant bad guy. The fans got so into it because he was so believable as a dominant killer of a bad guy that the fans started cheering him. So they had to turn him into a good guy because the company will never let the fans decide. So now that the fans have taken him and embraced him and love him, the company exploits that And they're like basically saying, oh yeah, we meant for you to love him all along. So yeah, it's all psychology. It's weird. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on in pro wrestling business.
Do you think the WWE pushes certain agenda? Like, do you know if there's like a certain agenda happening in the mainstream news? You think the WWE will take it on like their act, like, and involve it within their storylines?
Well,
like,
for
example, just say like there's a new fucking film out and it's called The Last Mohican, and it's about an Indian, and suddenly the WWE start pushing this new guy, Tatanka. And you're like, are they pushing the same agenda that the mainstream are pushing here? What the fuck's going? Do you ever notice parallels between agendas in WWE and agendas that are getting pushed on the news?
Of course, yeah. WWE it's very populist. As you know, remember Dennis Miller, that guy Dennis Miller?
Right. Yep.
Do you remember him? An American like stand-up comedian, and he was part of Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Dennis Miller. He just, when he was involved with WWE back in the early 2000s for a short stint, he did some big events for them, and people were like complaining, Dennis Miller, we don't really want him. He labeled he revealed to me, WWE is populist. You're gonna get shit. They're always going to be commenting on everything that's going on. That's how they are. But the thing is, the one good thing about that company is that they tend to take the conservative and libertarian side of things instead of the liberal side of things. So they're quick to mock a Hillary or a Rosie O'Donnell, and they're quick to praise a conservative.
Do you feel that they push a feminist agenda though? When you have like these women like body slamming men and shit, do you think that's part of this whole fucking?
No, I think that traditionally up until about last year, when they've done this whole new thing with the women that we could talk about in a second. But traditionally what it was that, there'd be an occasional woman who was tough enough and badass enough that she could come and take out a dude with a clothesline. Like China. Yeah. So, and people they loved it. So it was just more violence and it was exploitative. And she was, quote, or, maybe not her, but they're, quote, hot chick, and she's kicking some dude's ass, and it's like, oh, cool, and I'm drunk and cool, this is great. That's all they were trying to go for. They weren't like really trying to like push like like women are intellectually and spiritually and physically superior to men and blah blah. They didn't have any like specific agendas like that, But now they've got this thing called the women's revolution, because it was women's wrestling and the women's championship up into the 2000s. And then in the early 2000s to the 2010s, they called them the divas. And it was about them being done up and looking good, way more than it was about them wrestling good. And so that got really irritating. It became the laughing stock. Everyone called it the piss break, whenever the women have it, it's your piss break. Because no one wants to see the women's match. It's just going to suck. It's just going to be a couple of chicks with a whole bunch of makeup on, doing really bad performance and making wrestling look as fake as possible, and because the best wrestlers are the ones that make it look real, the ones that really do take the shots for the sake of entertaining the fans. But anyways, they've done this whole thing with the women's revolution now, where they're calling it the women's championship again, and they're trying to bring all this prestige and honor back to it, and they're trying to give them main event matches at pay-per-views and stuff like that, inside steel cages against each other, and all this kind of extra violent stuff. And they're trying to really elevate it, but the fans really just aren't buying it because, the company traditionally has the dolled up girls with the makeup. They're not going to start putting like these really rough bitches that you see in MMA. They're not going to have that. People the wrestling fans don't necessarily want to see that. They want to see the dolled up divas. So they're at this identity crisis phase in history where feminism is clashing with traditional WWE violence, which is a big part of American culture. Like in America, everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. Everybody knows who The Rock is. Everybody knows, it's a very big part of Americana. So the company, I don't know. What was your question originally? I don't know, man.
I just said, do you think that WWE incorporates agendas that are being pushed?
Well, yeah. And what I was saying, okay, yeah.
If you feel that there's a feminism getting pushed to the mainstream, do you see it getting reflected within your entertainment, like wrestling? Do you know what I mean? 'Cause
well,
I see it within the pop music. I see it within kind of other things. Do you see it within the wrestling?
Well, that's the beauty of WWE specifically, is that he's always been a rogue guy. He's always been rogue, and he's always been really a conservative. So if anything, what he'll do is he'll make fun of what's going on.
Right.
They do have a character right now that actually is starting to bitch and moan about the pay gap. But they're gonna, yeah. So that's the thing that's actually going on right now. They have the women's champion talking about the pay gap, and so, but it's like, it's a story, and they're gonna have her get punked out and put in her place, and they're gonna have that. It's gonna be like a man's perspective, like, you know, let's get some work done, rugged individualism. You make it, you earn it, you keep it, kind of individualism. That's what the WWE's always been about. So they'll, you know, and Donald Trump was involved in several WrestleManias. He actually, the Trump Plaza hosted WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5, and then he appeared in WrestleMania 23 and shaved the owner of WWE's head with shaved his head.
I can remember Trump then getting the wrestling kick. I can't remember who was lying on the ground, but Trump was actually fighting. It was like,
yeah,
no,
he did a fucking running clothesline on the owner of WWE and took his ass out. It was sick, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, so Vince McMahon and WWE has always been on the more conservative side of things, and they're quick to make fun of liberals in the media. They'll parody the shit out of liberal agendas, so they'll reflect them.
Like about UFC, sorry to interrupt, but that's what I kind of like about UFC, because when you see the press conferences with UFC fighters, they'll be saying, "Well, fuck him, he's a little faggot." Kind of, it's like, and that's not seen as politically correct. He's not calling him a faggot because he thinks he's gay or anything. It's just an insult. Kind of, it's like, he's a little bitch, he's a little faggot, and they're still got the freedom to say these kind of things, and which I think is cool. And if you want to try and spice up a fight and cause a wee bit more animosity by using that kind of rhetoric, because it is just rhetoric, you're not actually harming anybody, I think that's cool. And if WWE is doing something similar, I kind of support it. Kind of like if they're making fun of like the latest agenda that's getting pushed. You know what I mean? Like if feminism's getting pushed and then a feminism wrestler comes in and she gets body slammed by some dude and then told to leave the ring. That'd be funny.
Yeah, see, that's probably what they're gonna do.
Know your place, against body slamming on a cooker or something. You know.
Dang, man. Well, no, I mean,
you can make a ring into a kitchen, and you can make a ring into a kitchen. You could have the sink, you could have the fridge, you could have the. You just like body slam the woman in there and go, start cooking.
That's just the beer talking.
You could give them the Rock phrasing. Do you smell what the female's cooking?
Do you smell what my bitch is cooking?
That'd be brilliant, man. It's like tongue in cheek. I loved growing up watching like Richard Pryor and See No Evil, Hear No Evil. It just broke the barriers. Kind of like, what was the Western he done as well? That Western.
Dirty Harry.
Gene, what's his name? The Jewish boy. He was in See No Evil, Hear No Evil. What's his name?
Gene Hackman.
No, Gene Hackman. He was wearing. Fuck, man, I can't remember. Smoking Saddles with blazing saddles. Mind, it was like the black sheriff that turns up, and I think those kind of films broke the boundaries between races because everyone was laughing. You know what I mean? And nowadays, Blazing Saddles couldn't be shown on the fucking cinema because people are so sensitive. People are so Actually, people are scared to criticize that new movie, Black Panther. Is it Black Panther? Because they're getting is racist. Like if they say a bad thing about Black Panther, you're racist. Like what the fuck? What's the world turning into?
Well, I've heard rumors that it's probably on the news too, but I've heard from a coworker told me that black people were showing up to the theaters to see Black Panther, and they were dressed like Black Panthers, and they were doing the hand out in the air and like the whole look and everything, and people were like getting freaked out by it and stuff.
I just think that that shows you how easy, like if they think a comic book film represents what Africa the African people is, they're in fucking dreamland. If they think this made up place called, what's it, Wakanda or some shit, it's like they've invented this place. If Europeans never invaded Africa, Africa would have been this technologically advanced ethno city, just pure blacks, pure technology. And it just seems to me that like, I think it's cool. It's set in Africa. I don't expect to see a white dude in it, man, because it's set in Africa. Fair enough. Ken, but then it's like you've got people that say, well, I didn't really like the film because the CGI was a bit fucking terrible. Then you got people saying, you're racist. It's like, what? Where the fuck? What the fuck is this? And like you can't, like, the SGWs are coming out in full force with this movie, and I don't know why. It's like people can't even say that they don't like it without being classed as a racist. And I just think this is the way the world's going nowadays. Like you can't have an opinion about anything without getting classed as something.
Well, America goes through these phases, and we get really like apologetic to the blacks, and then we go back to where it's like, give me a break. We don't need to be like that. And blacks, and then the black consensus and pop culture will be like, yeah, we don't expect any handouts. We can coexist with you, kind of memes that you get in society. And then it goes back to the extreme white apologetic type attitude where TV shows start like overly. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Well, I grew up Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. I love the guys. Like, and comedy wise, Eddie Murphy, he done stand up comedy called Raw. There was like a fucking like Raw with Eddie Murphy. Amazing, man. Amazing. Richard Pryor was just as good. I grew up listening to Tupac and things like that. Mayweather was one of my favorite boxers. Mike Tyson, and all these black people were a big influence in my life, and I used to look up to them. I looked up to these people growing up, and because of these SJWs saying that it's racist to not like a certain movie and all that, it's actually making you more anti what you loved. I love black culture and all that shit, and it's making me more like, wait a minute, why should I love them if they hate me? You know what I mean? It's like, why should I love them if they hate me? And
but here's the thing: is it like, do they hate you, or is it this just Jewish made media that's trying to make them hate you?
There you go, mate. I think you're right. I think most black, just like you going about MGTOW and feminism, when I think my missus, she hates feminists. She fucking hates all this shit they talk about, and she's like, oh my God, Ken. And I think most women can't stand feminists.
Well, it depends on the city you live in, and it depends on the type of place you're at. If you're like, if I were to go to a place with my job and end up delivering to a place that's like a government building, like a sheriff's department or a department of transportation or a city power place like that, there'll be a gaggle of fucking hens that are there, and they're older women, and they're like supremacists, and you could tell that they fucking hate men and shit, You can tell it's the way that they treat me and stuff.
I've done jobs for women like that, right? I've had clientele where there's been two lesbians. One of them's want to be butch. The other one's butch, but she's not as butch as the other one. And they hate you. They hate you. Like, we're doing a job for them. We're treating them with total respect. Manners, obviously, because you don't want to lose your job. So you know what it's like at your work. You give them the customer care service. And you try your best to please them. And all they can do is like look down on you and can like order you around like you're a piece of shit. I found this with a lot, but at the same time, they want to be like men. They want to act like a man. They hate men, but they look like a fucking man. It's like, what the fuck? What's wrong? What the fuck's going on here? You hate me, but you want to look like me. Fucking
yeah.
Come on, see, I've got a brother-in-law, mate.
And they think that by being mean to you, that they are empowered over you. But not how it works, because what it was that there was a male figure in their life that was powerful and was mean to them, so they're trying to emulate that person. That's usually what it comes down to.
Well, what I found is a lot of these butch lesbians, they were in previous relationships. They had kids, and the husband cheated on them with a younger woman or some shit like that, and suddenly this woman hates men. Fuck him, kind of like she just disowns men altogether. But she wasn't a lesbian before. She was quite happy when she had her kids and the family life. But as soon as a man got sick and tired of maybe stale sex life, or just, you can't what happens within relationships, the woman turns into a lesbian. So that just proves that you're not born it. Kind of, I mean, it's like people will have kids, but then they start hating the other sex because they've done something to them.
Well, see, here's the thing though, too. Turning lesbian per se, I think that's a myth, man. I think that's just a bullshit myth. I think it's just, okay, if you put it all in perspective and you think about the female mindset, instinctively, biologically, they're programmed to gather resources. So it's, what have you done for me lately, is the outlook. So what it is that sometimes women, when they get older and their men leave them, or their men die off, or they end their relationships, even if they were hetero relationships, they had kids and stuff, then it becomes their bond between their girlfriends. And it's like, sometimes one of their girlfriends will have a husband who died, had a lot of money, and she'll be able to help her friend out, who just is divorced from her husband and is just down in the dumps and down on her luck and stuff. And then they'll end up bonding so close that people just call them lesbians and shit like that. And then maybe sometimes they do mess around with each other, but it just kind of shows that sexuality isn't really as important to the female mind as it is to the male mind. And then when you think of it, it's biologically represented that way too, because women have smaller organs, men have a much larger organ than what a woman has for the pleasures of sex. You know what I'm saying? So with men are driven by sex. Women know that men want the sex. It's not as big of a deal to them biologically. At least not later on, you know. And then it's basically a Pavlovian reward system, because they know that they're more feeble and they're not as creative. They don't have the mindset. They don't have the creativity. They don't have the intuition. They don't have the physical strength, the know-how, the experimentation. They're not the type to do that because they're not the hunters. They're the gatherers. And that's just biological. And so it ends up being this twisted game where men, especially when they're young, they get trapped and end up having a bunch of kids that they maybe with the wrong girl and stuff like that. And it's just all part of the game. It's all the course of nature. It's just women looking for their resources.
So where do you base it? Do you base it on experience? Is this something that you've been through, or is it just something that you've been observing on the internet?
No, I grew up in a very healthy family, a normal, great family. And my mom wasn't like a domineering bitch over my father at all. They had like a 50-50 relationship. And my dad, you know, had a business, and then she worked at the business, and it was a family owned business, and quite successful, you know. And then he passed away and everything. And you know, I've never had any weird issues like that, and just a normal life, you know.
What made you turn this way, man? It was like a fucking switch. It was like a switch. It's like one day, I don't know if you had a fucking, just a binge on fucking MGTOW videos or some shit and thought, I relate to this shit completely. Or what happened there? What was it, man?
Well, back in the day, before I met my woman, I was in a shitty place, you know, mentally. And I was like, man. And then my buddy introduced me to this book, that Manipulated Man book, and it like blew my mind. I was like, wow.
Who was the author?
A female author from the 1960s, Esther Villar.
All right, cool.
And it's weird. It's like the foundation for men's rights activism, and it's like the foundations for what would eventually become MGTOW.
Was she speaking from like experience herself, like what women do to men? Like from
yeah, she was totally just fessing up and revealing the big secret to men. And I imagine a lot of women were pretty fucking upset when she came out with this book, because it liberated a man's mind. It made men more productive. And it actually ended up making men even more attractive to women, because what women really want is a man that can produce. So, you know, you don't want to crush a man's spirit. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to control him and use him as a resource. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of, you know, the whole MGTOW takes it to the extreme, and it pretty much puts all women in this position, which is not true, but it puts all women in this position where they're just a complete fucking warlock, just mind raping a guy and puppeting him, and just, it's all sick game.
I've heard arguments be like MGTOW guys that like there's women out there like, if a guy's not got a dick bigger than 11 inches, he's not a man and shit like that. But if that was the case, we'd be in a society where guys are just hung, because the guys that never got laid because they had small dicks would just die out. So the genetics would be just long dick guys walking around. So why is there not just long dick guys? Why is like 99% of the guys in the population probably under like 10 inches?
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. See, it's about resources. It's not about that. You know, maybe when women are younger, it's a little bit more about things of that nature, not necessarily that specifically, but things of that nature. You know, is a guy cute? Is he hot? Is he popular? There's other people around us that we're getting drunk with and doing drugs with that they think he's cool. Am I going to get status points if I'm with this guy? Am I going to be elevated in the henpecking order? That's what they're thinking about. And then later on in life, it translates to, is this guy going to buy me the right car that I want? Is this guy going to give me the house I want? Is this guy going to, fortunately, I know you have kids. I don't have kids. So I can't sit here and like, I don't want to trash, things and shit. And
no, well,
people
say there's a population agenda and the white people are getting wiped out. Well,
yeah,
I'm doing my cause. I'm breeding, man. I'm fighting it. You know what I mean? If that is the case, I've got 3 kids, mate. I've got 3 fucking kids. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And see, I can't even blame you for that. I can't believe that. But for me personally, I personally don't think that I want that. You know what I'm saying? And that could be me being a victim of what's culturally being done to my hometown.
Yeah, maybe that is, mate. But you never think that, like, a lot of people believe in afterlife. Maybe you believe in afterlife because you're quite Christian, so orientated. Maybe you think there's a heaven or some shit like that. But the way I look at it is like me living when I die is my kids. They take your genetics, they take even characteristics of your face, even mannerisms, they carry on. They maybe even pass them to their kids and then their kids. So in a wee way, you could be dead, but you kind of do live on. It's like an afterlife. There is like an afterlife, and there's something about that sort of I like. You know what I mean? It's like I wouldn't want to be a ghost stuck in the fucking a see-through ghost, like help. Like fuck that. Like to me, afterlife is your kids. To me, that's the real afterlife. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're putting a lot of weight or a lot of importance on the physical material realm with that view. You're kind of are you dismissing the spiritual realm or the?
It's not that I'm dismissing. I'm quite pragmatic when it comes to human nature and the fact that we are here to fucking breed, sort of thing. So I'm kind of, my foundations are built on that. Like at the end of the day, why are we here? Well, why is every other animal here? You observe the animals in the wild. Well, they breed, they multiply, they eat, they shit, they sleep. Again, you just need to look at the wildlife to really know why we're here. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we here? Were we put here by aliens? We're here the same reason why fucking the other animals are here. We're here to breed and fucking multiply, survive, or be extinct. Again, it just depends how the coin lands with us. That's the way I see it. I'm more pragmatic in that sense, where I see it as, again, fight or flight and all that shit, man. I do. I believe in all that stuff.
Yeah.
The strongest survive, shit like that. I am a strong believer in that because you just need to look into the wildlife. Like a limping lion isn't going to be the fucking alpha male of the pack. it's just, that shit. Okay? And it just to see just a microcosm of humans, you can look at the animal world, man. You don't have to look far.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing. It kind of rounds back to what you had asked me earlier that I never quite fully answered. You were asking me about why I've turned Christian and all that stuff, or had taken that Christian edge and stuff. Well, the thing is that I've been deep in Christian tradition, hardcore, I guess what people would call like hardcore biblical literalist Christian studies and stuff like that. And I've always known that after a certain point, I realized, you really can't be a piece of shit and expect to get away with it. You can't even do it sometimes in certain special circumstances, situations, and think that it's okay. But for the most part, you're not a piece of shit. You just can't. You got to reach a point in your life where you become diligent, honorable, respectful, because you're getting moral. Yeah, moral. You're getting older. It's like your responsibility.
This is an argument I had this with Tim Osman. He said morals are subjective.
Yeah, that's what a traditional biblical Christian would say is satanic thought, just immediate satanic thought. Because you're like,
decide when you want to be good. It's up to you when you want to be good. No, the fact that killing a baby, it doesn't matter what culture you're in, what life you're in, and if you take some kind of joy at killing a baby, you're fucking evil. It's as simple as that. As simple as fucking that. You can say morals are subjective, but all day long, I'll say that that's evil. That's bad. That's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's no subjective. That's objective. Killing a fucking baby for pleasure is always going to be wrong to me.
Yeah. I mean, you mean like satanic sacrifices and shit like that?
Not even those satanic sacrifices. Just even if you're just a fucking Viking conquering a fucking village and you kill the men, you rape the women, and do you know what? You kill the kids too. That's immoral. Like if the Vikings were moral, they maybe think we'll kill the men, maybe take the women back to the country, like they're good specimens, and we'll take their kids as well. We didn't have to kill them. The Irish actually, they were one of the first people to write a human rights. It was called the Rights of the Innocents, and it was written in like 700 AD. It was like one of the first Magna Cartas, mate. It was like human rights, and what the Irish were saying that during battles and shit, or during wars, they wrote down a rule that the men, can you conquer the men, but women and children shouldn't be harmed. It was one of the first human fucking rights. And see, when a woman killed a man, if a man killed a woman, the man would get his left hand chopped off, and his right hand. You'll see this as pure feminist fucking shit anyway. But if a man killed a woman, he'd get his left hand chopped off and his right foot chopped off and left to die. If a woman killed a man, she'd be put on a raft with a bowl of gruel, and God would decide our destiny. They would just send her out to the sea. So no man would be responsible for her death. It'd be God's decision what happened to her. So this was back in like 700 AD.
See, that's feminism back then.
But women were seen as, think about it, like science-wise, like we didn't, like back then, we didn't know how reproduction happened. Women were almost magical. Like life would come out their vagina. It's like, how the fuck? I wonder if men even knew that their semen was anything to do with it. To a certain degree. When did men realize that their semen was to do with the life? And it wasn't just their own instinct just to have sex. And when did they realize that the sex was connected to like breathing? Like,
yeah, I mean we're talking
like
about
women would have been seen as magical back then. Like a portal for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and what you have today is women trying to ride that ancient fucking primordial wave of status into modern times and flex it on whole new levels in the world of business, in the world of culture, in the world of social justice, and in the world of deciding what's politically correct. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a domineering worship of the gold-plated vagina. It's trying to be pushed, bro.
Oh, that's a good one, man. Right, I'm going to go for a quick cigarette. Is that cool with you, mate?
Yeah, okay.
Right.
All right, guys. I'm going to take a quick break, too. I'll be here for whenever Jed comes back. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Rob S. in the house. You, Lee's Rules, Andres, Angel Raven 444. Head upside down head. Oh, man. All right, guys. See you in a minute.
You know, it's nothing but good times of Validation Boy live stream. Nothing but the brightest minds of our times. Should take a poll in the listening audience. Should we try to invite John LeBon on the show? Or maybe we should round the show up? Who's that, you?
All right, man.
Okay, that's your other account?
Aye, mate.
All right, good.
Just having a cigarette at the window.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
it sound all right?
Yeah, sounds good. How about me?
Sound fine, man. Sound fine.
So my 8 p.m. was your 1 a.m.?
Yep. It's 3 a.m. now.
Okay, yeah.
I got up at 7 o'clock this morning. Hey, right, I'm going to ask you this, man, like, because I do this shit, right? This is just something I do. But do you go through, like, a wee routine before you go on a hangout? Or do you just sit up and fucking shoot the shit?
Well, there's like I got to get my apparatus ready. You know how my show usually starts.
Do you know what I done tonight? I came back from work. I watched some TV. I jumped in the shower. I got ready like I was going to the pub. I got my jeans on. I got my t-shirt on. I'm not going to sit in my pajamas, getting on a hangout sort of thing. So I got dressed for like I was going out to the pub. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of do that. I even put some aftershave on. I know you can't smell me, but it's like I just want to look again good for the hangout and shit like that. I didn't want to just come on with a house coat on and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cold here.
Oh, it's nice and warm where I'm at, man.
Oh, they're talking about -15 here.
Are you talking about Celsius?
Celsius, yeah.
What's that convert to in Fahrenheit? Because I don't have any idea.
I think in Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit, something like that. Or roughly around that.
So 15. So you're below freezing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Like snow on the ground and everything?
The snow's still on the hills. The rest of the snow's melted away, but they're talking about this weekend it's going to get really cold. Because Siberian air or some shit's coming.
A fucking Nordic blast coming your way. Shit.
Yep. I'm going to go back on the computer, man.
All right. Oh, yeah. Y'all know you love that super laid-back atmosphere. Validation Boy live stream. Bringing you only the finest in guests. The cream of the crop. The top dogs. The skeptic scene. It's where the big boys play. Yeah.
Pumping the guns, man. Come on, Dale. Come on. I'm 6'3". Come on. I'm not wee Jed. I remember that. Did you ever see my whiskey hangout, man?
I was there, bro.
Oh, you there? Here, man. I still hear about that hangout. Like, it's mixed reviews. Some people say I was a total asshole, but other people loved that shit, man. Just loved the fact that I was sober. I started drinking a bottle of whiskey, and by the end of it, I was like, fuck her. Fucking boxing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
People love that shit because it's real. It's real, mate. It's me just being me. You know what I mean? Like, if you were in the pub with me having a few beers, that's probably how the shit would go. You know what I mean? It's like, just be me. It's like...
Yeah, I'll tell you this, though. One day, if you would have kept that up or kept it, one day you would have looked back when you're like 40 and you'd be like, oh, God, man, what was I doing, man? It's one of those things. Because I look back at myself. Like, other night, I was watching one of my old live streams. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, what a jackass I am. I'm so fucking embarrassed of myself all the time, man. I'm always fucking embarrassed when I look back on my shit, dude.
Nah, no regrets, man. No regrets.
Really? Because, like, sometimes, man, I look back and I'm like, oh, man, I'm such a fucking schmuck when I said that. I look like such a jackass and shit. It's like, man, should I just delete this fucking old hangout? I'm like, nah, I shouldn't do that. Man.
I think it's you. I think that's why I still watch you, man, because even though you can be a dick and sometimes a bit an asshole at times, I agree with you a lot of the time. It's maybe the way you say it, kind of the way you present it sometimes, but a lot of the time you are hitting home a lot of fucking truths. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't digest it the way you say it, though. The way you say it, it's fucking hard to digest.
I cover this shit with like molasses and then I dip it in broken glass like Jean-Claude Van Damme and shit, and then I punch him in the face with it.
I like, I don't know, man. You get something, you make it so much more than it is. Maybe you're not. But I think sometimes you take it a bit far. This MGTOW thing, I think you're taking this too far. Like, are you in agreement, right? Are you in agreement that the feminist movement is an agenda that's been pushed by the powers that be?
Well, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think that maybe the biggest conspiracy of all times is the hidden gynocracy, bro, and the power of the pussy and shit. Because if you really think about it, it kind of controls everything that a man does for the course of his life. And even if a man does go MGTOW, he's still part of Western civilization, which is a complete hidden gynocracy. So it's always about, it's like the Human Rights Act from the 700s. It's all about that pussy power, bro. First thing, because women are magical.
If you can accept that feminism could be an agenda, couldn't you accept that MGTOW could be the agenda for the other side?
But see, MGTOW, if anything, the main goal of MGTOW, I was almost going to do a video on this, okay? Because I saw a commenter on one of Tom Foolery's videos, and he was saying, oh, you know who told men to go their own way? Satan. And it was like, oh, man, you don't even know, bro. You just like all these assumptions about MGTOW. A lot of people have a whole bunch of misconceptions about MGTOW and shit, But the thing is, the main goal, the way I interpret what I observe from an outsider of MGTOW, because I'm not MGTOW. I'm in a very successful long-term relationship with a female I totally love and adore and shit. So I can't call myself a MGTOW monk, obviously.
Right.
But the whole point of MGTOW, okay, is to bring back a system of order that makes civilization beneficial for everybody, instead of a lopsided situation where we have masters and slaves. Okay, because men, because we're powerful and because we're more intelligent, we're able to take the dominant alpha position in an interpersonal male-female relationship. But because we have that responsibility, any good man knows that he has to treat his woman as an equal as much as possible, just out of respect, and take her opinion and all that stuff. You can't just completely disregard her and say, you're just my breeding hole, shut your mouth and shit, and keep her in a cage and shit. You can't do that, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, MGTOW is about not accepting any kinds of deviant female domination, female parasitic behavior, okay, that is intended to hurt and manipulate a man, or use the Pavlovian tricks they use on men to manipulate men into situations where they lose and the woman wins, and they're taking from the man instead of sharing with the man and providing their half of the fucking bargain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the goal of MGTOW, really, as far as I'm concerned, looking at it from outside, is to bring back that conservative balance where women know their place, but their place is actually a 50-50 position. But they always have to understand that they have that role on that throne, that 50-50 spot of respect, because the man is allowing it, because the man is the one who has the wisdom to use that power in judgment the right way. When you give a woman that power, as in, for example, a boy who's raised by just a woman without a father figure, the woman takes the domineering position and victimizes her partner. It's a biological thing. There's no escape from it. MGTOW is about not accepting that kind of behavior from parasitic women like that Oprah and Ellen and these people feed into their minds. The government and shit feeds into their minds these evil, devious thoughts.
Maybe this is what they want you to think, because it's the same way when you see certain agendas getting pushed, you know that there's always going to be an opposite.
No, they exist because you worked for them. You did work for women like that in their fucking places where you were the customer service and they were just fucking domineering cunts. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry.
No, but men can be like that as well with me. I said that I gave an example about a woman earlier, but men can be like that as well. Like they think they're better than you and fucking because you're just a furniture guy, you're just lifting furniture, so they think they're better than you and shit. So it goes kind of both ways. But the way I see MGTOW, it's like if it's not grassrooted within the government, like if the government never started it, it's just it's like a rejection of the agenda that's getting pushed, and that's what they want. Like I said, right? If you've got a liberal society, how do you turn them racist? You don't turn them racist by pushing right-wing propaganda. What you do is to turn people racist is push left-wing so hard, so fucking fascist that people start going, fuck you, and they start going to the other side. And this is what they want, because they know they can't force people into a certain mindset. So they force the opposite to make people go, fuck you. Again, we can do this. And I think MGTOW is like a result of that. It's like they want that to happen. And that could be to stop, like if there's a population agenda, just say they want white guys to stop breeding. Well, what's the best way to make them hate fucking women? And make them despise women and think they're against them. I mean, it's, to me, it looks like another agenda, MGTOW.
Yeah, but no, the thing is that MGTOW, like you said, it's a reactionary thing. And what it is that MGTOW reveals the toxicity of a lot of females out there. And the guys are starting to realize, damn, that girl that I have a crush on at the bar that I go to or whatever, or when me and my boys are at such and such place, there's this chick I like. Well, then you start to realize, wait, that chick is a manipulating fucking demon.
But what I'm saying is
all these things that are described in the MGTOW, and you start realizing, damn, she's like that, and this other girl's like that too. And you start realizing, damn, the women are that way. So it's really just a reaction to whatever the government is doing to them. And I've said that before too. Like, we can't even blame the women. The women are being programmed by the government to behave in these parasitic ways and this money grubbing. Like, I'm basically a fucking wife-stitute, and if you got the money, you can fucking take me on a date and don't talk to me unless you can match what you see on my Facebook, which is me on dates with dudes and they got fucking lobster on the plate and you're at the fucking seaside restaurant with the lobster shit, you know? So it's all about hypergamy and resource hounding and shit, bro. And so maybe the government is making the women be that way, but the men are rejecting that shit. So maybe it's the government's way of making men class themselves out and choose, I'm never going to be that successful guy, so I'm going to...
Yeah, that's stupid that they don't think that there would be a reaction. That's what I'm saying, that they push the feminists because they know a group will form eventually. If they push feminism hard enough, they know there's going to be a reactional group. They know it. They want it. They want that reactional group. And when the reactional group forms organically, they think it's organically because it's just a reaction because of the feminist stuff, but it isn't, because the reason why the feminism got pushed was because they wanted the reactionism. I mean, they're 2 steps ahead. They wanted that to begin with. Just like I said before, like, you couldn't turn people racist. Like, I loved like Eddie Murphy, Tupac, all these people, but when they start saying that black people are chasing people out of cinema because the white people aren't allowed to watch Black Panther because there's a black film and stuff like that, you start thinking, well, is this what the government wants me to think? They want me not like black people because they're pushing this fucking agenda. And by being even the alt-right seem to be a reaction to the left, but the alt-right seem to they thought they were organic, the alt-right. They thought they were just a reaction to the extreme socialist Marxism left. But at the end of the day, maybe they wanted to push the left to create the right. They can't just create the right by pushing people to the right. They need to make an extreme left. So the right, it's just a natural thing. People are going to fight against it, things that are natural. So maybe they want these groups to form, like MGTOW, the alt-right, the fucking like you can't just turn people racist and chauvinistic. Like, if you want to see,
MGTOW's not chauvinistic inherently. That's the misconception that I think you have. And on top of that, for every one MGTOW, there's like 100,000 extreme hardcore feminists. You know what I'm saying? So like MGTOW versus feminism is not even a winning battle. So MGTOW truly is an organic thing. I think that is just basically because the goal of MGTOW is to actually be with a woman and actually reproduce and actually, you know, not be some single dude who dies alone. That's not the real true goal of MGTOW. The true goal of MGTOW is to not accept anything subpar whatsoever. And then when you finally get that woman who doesn't do any of those things on the red flag checklist, then she's acceptable. And then you commit to that. And then you only take the cream of the crop. You only reward the best of the herd. You know what I'm saying?
How rare are those women though? And how
yeah,
good
exactly.
How good are you to think you can get the cream of the crop?
I'm a male, dude. I have the seed. I have the imagination. I have the power. I have the skill. I'm the one that provides and shit. You know what I'm saying?
What if you've got a face that a woman thinks, I don't want my kids to look like that?
But then she don't pick me.
And what if most women think that?
Then whatever. You flex. You flex.
Die. So only the alpha males in MGTOW will really get their way. Because the standards for the other MGTOW guys who are being rejected from women and all that, they're so high that they'll never find that perfect woman. They'll never probably fucking multiply or breed because their expectations are so high of what a woman should be, when they'll never get that perfect woman because, like you said, the way society's molded women, you'll never find that perfect woman that will just go to the kitchen and shut her mouth and cook you your dinner. I mean, you'll never get that nowadays, ever.
Well, Well, I mean, speak for yourself, but
No, well, my missus makes me my packed lunch before I go to work. She makes me my dinner when I come home. She does everything for me, man. I'm actually like a kid. Just getting, like, honestly, it's like, even all the financial stuff, like, I'm scared. She's the heart of the house. I'm the manpower of the house, but she's the heart. She cleans, looks after the kids, makes my dinner, all that shit, and works as well. Yeah. So
everybody has their own individual situation, so I mean, I can't just generalize, but like, this is like, what I'm talking about is culturally, there's a generation out there of young females, apparently, I wouldn't know, but apparently, of what I hear through all the MGTOW media that I do watch, there's a hypergamous and parasitic generation out there that's all about showing off what they got materialistically on their Facebook. And then if you're a dude who doesn't look at least to a certain standard or have a certain amount of money, and mainly it's about the money, then don't even talk to me, And sometimes these quote ugly, dumpy, nerdy guys end up striking it big and having a lot of money and coming out and, doing a little bit of exercise, maybe still being a little fat, pudgy guy, but letting everybody know that he got that contract with that company and he's making a couple, 100,000 a year or whatever. And the women will start coming out of the fucking woodwork and acting like he's Brad Pitt when they see him and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but I think that's just a human nature in women to want to provide for their offspring. Like, why would animal in the wild choose a male that's not going to bring the food back?
Well, see, no, that's the thing, is that extreme feminism right now is about a woman finding that good provider and then abusing him, mistreating him, exploiting him. When what MGTOW's goal is to have it where that exploitation is taken out and made culturally inappropriate again. Because right now it's culturally appropriate for women to domineer and shit like that. And we're trying to I'm not MGTOW, but MGTOW is trying to make that balance restore to where there's like a 50-50 respect. Because right now it's an 80-20 rule, and men are on the losing end of that.
Did you feel that? You feel that?
Yeah, because I look around at all the dudes that I see, like couples that come into the places I work and stuff, and you can see the dude is just a whipped cuck. He's just like a meaningless little pussy boy, and that bitch has complete control over his every fucking thought and movement and shit. And it breaks my heart, dude. It breaks my heart. And these guys are out there like slaving. Some of them are like dudes I used to work with at other jobs, and I know that they've by now gotten to higher positions and are quite successful. I know the one dude, he used to be a server at a place, and now I know he's the fucking GM now. And he came into my place the other day, and he's just some whipped dude and shit. And I'm just like, bro, you work so hard, you put in all them fucking hours, and you see nothing. You see nothing, and that bitch just tells you what to do, and she's always disappointed with you no matter what you do. And it's because her mom told her that that's the way she's supposed to be. And the man is told by his father, that's the way that they're supposed to be. So you have to accept it. Oh, shucks, can't live with him, can't live without him. And bullshit cliches like that. And it's all just bullshit. It's just mind fuck. Men are the fucking ones who built the fucking pyramids, fake or not. Men are the ones who wrote the fucking Bible. Men are the one who built the fucking Stonehenge and all this shit. All these things, all these made language, made the arts.
Well, women were the ones that produced the men to build these things.
Yeah. Well, vessel.
These things wouldn't have happened if a woman that wasn't involved. A woman was involved in it as well.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, we can't, lest we forget the power of male prowess. You know what I'm saying? The power of civilization itself comes from the male mindset of constructing, conserving, protecting, building.
And how do you see this around the rest of the world? Can China or fucking India or like are these views shared in other countries, or is it just seemed to be America or the Western world that's got a problem with this sort of?
I think there are MGTOW people in Asia, and they deal with their culture in that way. But I think in Asia it's a lot easier because population is like not something that's like highly encouraged currently in Asia because of their huge population problems that the governments there tell them that they have. Oh, China's overpopulated, we got to have the one baby rule and all that shit. Yeah. Japan, people are like not reproducing in Japan. That's what the news says. According to the news, young people in Japan right now are just not having kids anymore. They're just done with that. So there's gonna.
You think that's just a result of West, like even they're influenced by Western culture to the point where people are working more and more and more till they're in their 40s, university, things like that. And then by the time they're in their 40s, it's really too late to breed, or when they do breed, it's one kid, and maybe there's something wrong with it because their genes aren't like
in their
best.
prime.
In their prime, sort of thing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe
it's choice. Like I've seen people around here have 5, 6, 7 kids, white people, and I've seen people have 1 kid or none kids because they just want to focus on work, holidays, things like that. They're not interested in having kids. So I think a lot of it is choice.
Yeah,
it's down to choice. Again, it's no women telling us what to do or men telling women what to do. I think it's really choice. Like it is all down to us, like what we choose and as individuals.
I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of the time, traditionally, a child is brought into the picture so that a woman can have her claws in a man's back forever. You know what I'm saying?
No, well, that's kind of like when you think about marriage. Like me, my missus, we're not married. I call her like in Scotland because I've been with my missus since 2001, and it's
okay.
2018. No, 2001. Sorry, I lied there. 2005, something like that. We've been together over 11 years, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And sorry. Before I started thinking about fucking how long, what were you saying before that? Sorry, I've just lost track of
how a child most of the time is brought into the picture to have a fucking claws on a man's back.
Like when you get with a woman, right? Do you know find yourself getting an animal to start with, like it's like a wee kitten or a dog or some shit like that, and it's almost to complete a family. Your missus never want to suggest getting a dog or a cat or some kind of animal. And it's like a precursor for a kid. It's like building a family without actually producing yet.
That could be viewed as a woman testing you and training you.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. But I found that like at first you get together, then you move in together, and then you're like, again, maybe we'll get a dog, and then it starts feeling like a wee bit of family. There's you, the missus, the dog, and then naturally, I think the kid comes next. It's just a natural thing. I don't think it's women want to get their claws into men and shit like that. It's just women have got needs. Women have needs. And one of their needs and one of their urges is to procreate. It's something that's instinctual, built into them. It's not the agendas. It's not the governments that's telling them to do this shit. It's built into them that they want to breed with the best genetics they can. So if they get the choice between some puny little fucking twerp and some big ass muscly rock guy, who are they going to choose?
The guy with more money.
Without money. I mean, just genetically looking at them. I mean,
well, yeah, okay.
And that's no because the government said so. It's just the woman knows that her offspring will get the best. They don't want the offspring to be the fucking half-blind disabled guy. They want the offspring to be the alpha male.
The problem is that mindset that you just mentioned has gotten taken to the extreme and it's been put into the legal system. And now women can choose a beta, or a fucking, a lower level guy, and basically get him to impregnate them with the full intention that they're going to divorce him and they're going to get the resources in that way. So they just literally can sit on the couch and watch TV, and the dad has to pay child support, but they also don't have to actually see the man. And they get the reward of having a little child to themselves. They can play dress up and play doll with, and raise and be the mommy of, and have complete domineering fucking mind warp control. Because like I said before, women, when you leave them in a position of power, 99% of the time they're going to be a parasitic overlord that does harm and manipulates their prey.
See, when we impregnate a woman, and a woman has to go like 8-9 months carrying like our bodies, like probably going to be changed forever. Our hips are getting dislodged, our belly's getting bigger, and they have the baby. They went through, then the pain of childbirth, the fucking pain of it, mate. Are you trying to say that they didn't have some sort of fucking right to have the first decision when it comes to it? Okay, because they've carried the kid, they've nourished the kid, feeding the kids with their thing, then they've went through the pain of actually delivering the kid. Why should if you suddenly have all these rights to tell them what should happen to the kid? The woman has just got as much right, maybe even more, because she carried the kid, she delivered the kid.
Well, no, that becomes an issue of like, are the parents going to stay together or not? And if they are going to stay together, well, then it needs to become a 50-50 fucking parental thing. It doesn't. Yeah.
But it's like women do go through most of the fucking trauma life, getting like childbirth and all this shit. Like the men just need to plant the seed and we just walk away quite happy. We could just plant seeds all day and walk away, while all these women are like, getting their vaginas ripped apart by little skulls coming out there. You know what I mean? It's like they go through a shitload of pain to bring our genetics into this world, to keep our genetics going. And I think it's only
that doesn't mean that they get to just stomp all over men and make it like this woman's paradise while men just like rot in the fucking just rot away, because that's what's happening right now. Men are just demoralized right now by the feminism of society and the cucked out liberalism and female worship of society and shit.
Can you remember Punch and Judy?
Who?
Punch and Judy.
No, what's that?
That's the way to do it. It was a puppet show. It was like it was the old style Victorian. They sit in a box and they'd have the puppet. It was hand puppets.
Yeah,
it was a big thing in Britain. Punch and Judy.
Okay.
And there was an alligator. There was a policeman. There was Punch and there was Judy. It was all these different characters.
Okay.
And Punch, he was called Punch, and he used to smack his wife over the head with a stick and go, "That's the way to do it." You know what I mean? Like fucking, like, do you not think that the opposite has happened already with men getting too much say? Like, fair enough, you say it's a 50-50 and MGTOW are fighting for this 50-50, but don't you think in the past that men had like 80-20 at one point? Well,
yeah, but women have fought for their 50-50. Now they've taken it the other direction. So what's good with that? So let's stop at 50-50.
So who's letting them take more? Is it the beta males that are just letting them walk all over them, or is it just people? Again, is it people saying things rather than doing things? Again, like, and rather than saying to your missus, "Why are you doing this?" Again, it's like, I don't understand it. I don't understand your view on it. This whole MGTOW is. Because I've seen in the past, even around my city, there's phallic symbols, kind of like big obelisks and shit like that. That represents like Osiris's penis and shit. You know what I mean? It's like a male thing. It's a big fucking cock in the middle of my city. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's always going to be there. And it's like male. This is the man. You know what I mean? And if you go back through the years, men have dominated this world. Like single-handedly, like, and treated women like shit for hundreds of years. Like, even if there is an agenda behind it, can you not just give them it for a few years or some shit? Can you not give them it for 5 years and let them be bitches and they can walk all over us until they realize they're just being assholes and they need men? You know what I mean? It's like, can you not just give them it because we've dominated them for so long? Or is it just not?
Nah, fuck that shit.
Do you not think it's been a male-dominated world for so long?
Yeah, it has. But that doesn't mean that men just need to get shit all over right now, just senselessly. Where it's just like so transparent, it's like such bullshit too.
But just like you were saying, MGTOW's a reaction to the feminists. Maybe the feminists are a reaction to the last 3-4 maybe millennia of men dominating the whole fucking world.
So you're saying the world
raping and killing women, and burning women as witches and shit like that. In Scotland, we used to burn witches. Actually, we used to throw them in the water, and if they survived, they were a witch. If they drowned, they weren't a witch.
I would argue that it's possible that all the witch hunts and all the wars and all the crusades and any war that's ever existed, especially like the Trojan War, it's all because of a female telling a man what to do, controlling from a higher position. There's always a woman behind every single war. It's always about gaining resources and gathering resources. So who else does that? Women do that. The queen does that. So whoever the highest woman in the land is the one that makes all diplomatic decisions. And that's the end. That's throughout all history.
Well, that's what I'd argue. Resources, but is that not what men have been doing with wars for this? Is that not the whole point of the Iraq-Afghanistan war, is the fact that we want to gain resources?
Yeah.
And but not women. Men, us. We're doing this shit.
But we're doing it for the women. The patriarchy exists to serve the hidden matriarchy. That's the natural order.
We're killing Muslims for women.
Yep.
Really, man.
For our because we have our golden pussies. They have their golden pussies, and ours are better. So we're gonna kill you, and all the shit you have, we're gonna give all that shit to our golden pussies.
No, they've got gold-plated pussies, man. Like, like they've put in a corner and fucking. Actually, the way you talk like MGTOW is almost like that. Women will be walking around with headscarves on and fucking just being incubators. You know what I mean? Like, Western women are empowered. It's good. I love how Western women are empowered and strong. You know what I mean? I didn't agree with them taking over men's roles and fighting, and like you wouldn't put a fucking platoon of women into a fucking war. You know what I mean? It's always going to be men. We know biologically men are the fucking muscle. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
See, that's a problem, is that right now there's women out there who are deluded and acting like that's not the case. And it's creating like a lot of weird issues and like a lot of circumstances and a lot of public conversations that don't need to even exist, because it's like, come on, whoever's out there on that side of the argument, and when something like that gets raised, it's like, you just look like a complete ass. But there are women out there who are arguing these kinds of things, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's ridiculous.
I found like a reaction. You're saying MGTOW is a reaction to the feminists, but I found like there's a bunch of women that are rejecting the feminists as well.
No, anti-feminism is just a new feminism. It's them trying to deceive. Them trying to deceive men again and be like, no, we understand your plight. No, we agree with you. You're right. And trying to satiate MGTOWs, but then stab them in the back.
So what would convince you if women did start saying, right, we agree with you, VB, women should get back in the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Would you see that as still like a sneaky, underhanded like tactic? Like, just trying to get in the kitchen to control us or some shit. Like, where'd you draw the line? Where'd you draw the line?
I mean, then it comes down to an individual basis. Then it's like, is this particular woman that's in front of me, is this the one that I can actually trust to not be like all these toxic things that I see in the media and all these toxic
just to hit the nail
other women?
Individual, like your own experience with women, your individual experiences with individuals. And I think sometimes you're influenced by maybe a lot of MGTOW stuff on YouTube, and it's powerful stuff. It does it. It hits home a lot of shit, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's true or what the women are thinking. I've got to agree with a lot of the fucking, because I see feminism get pushed hard. Actually, the last Brit Awards, they had this woman. Is it something Faith? She's a bucktooth fucking, she looks like an idiot anyway, but she's singing a song called Cry Baby, Cry Baby, Cry Baby. And she's surrounded with about 100 men with their tops off, crying. Just as props, just men everywhere with their tops off, crying. And I thought, that's a bit feminist. And then when she finished the song, they went up to her, oh, that was a great performance, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm a feminist. And I thought, oh my fucking God. They're making men look like pathetic weaklings. Then they've got this woman, I'm a feminist and I'm pansexual. My kids are pansexual. And fucking, I do see it. I do see it getting pushed. But when I feel myself getting angry, I think to myself, this is what they want. They want me to get angry and fucking say, fuck you, you bitch. But that's no you. That's no me. We shouldn't be reacting like that. They want us to act like that.
Why can't that be you? Why is it wrong to be like, I don't want my fucking kid to be a pansexual and to be fucking outraged? I think that's 100% the exact right way to be.
No, I think that's the right way, but I think us just reacting to these morons like pop stars, like on awards, why should they have any? Again, why are they off?
Yeah, it's like, why are those people the ones that we're playing this mental game with?
Yep. I don't understand that. Anyway, dude, it's been a fucking great chat, man. I could talk all night, but it's getting close to 4 a.m. here. Unless you want to get anybody on, but I'm sort of running out of steam, man. Is JLB there? Have you seen JLB's dreadlocks?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. They look like they're fucking louping. They look like they've been jumping. Like they look like they're alive. They got fleas and shit. I bet you JLB's got fleas, but that's one guy I still listen to you. I still listen to JLB. I still listen to Timmy. And I still think you've got a lot to offer. I know you're the dogmatist flat earth, but I still think you've got some good, even your traffic jam conspiracy, man.
Yeah, that's good shit, dude. It's good shit.
In Edinburgh, they dig up holes for no fucking reason just to slow the traffic down.
I'm telling you, bro.
Slow and using more fuel, and fucking everyone has to take detours, and it just costs. And apparently, the building companies and the roadworks companies in Scotland, if they don't meet the criteria, if they get 60 million at the beginning of the year and they don't do 60 million worth of work on the roads, they get less money. So what they do is dig holes for no reason. So they keep getting the 60 million or the 70 million each year. If they only done 20 million worth of digging holes, they'd only get 20 million the next again year. So what they do is they end up digging up fucking holes everywhere. Like there's nothing wrong, and they're just like repairing a piece of asphalt on the road, and people are like, "What the fuck is this? This is like deliberate slowing the traffic down. What the fuck is this?" And I think you're right with a lot of that shit, man.
I know, it's a crazy conspiracy I thought of. I was like, man, I know that this world is a fucking illusion. And I know Aaron Dover has come up with some genius shit, and even Hans has come up with some shit that's made you think. And I was like, man, I want a video like that. I want to break some new ground and shit. I was like, what is so common around us that we see every fucking day that is probably a fucking lie? And I was like, you know what? I spend a lot of my day and my work stuck in fucking traffic jams. You know what? And a lot of times fucking traffic jams, you get to the end of it and you see it's all just a bunch of bullshit going on. And you're like, why the fuck was I just sitting there for 18 minutes while you sat on your fucking ass eating that sandwich or whatever the fuck was going on there? And, it's like, wait a second. And then you see it happen all over the place. And you start realizing that the flow of traffic, it's all a big fucking hoax, bro. It is, man.
It seems to be if the traffic's flowing good and everyone's getting where they want to go, it's efficient, fuel efficient. But when everybody's sitting in traffic queues, dragging along, kind of like they probably double their money in fuel. I mean, rather than people just driving about fucking directly to destinations, they're sitting in traffic jams for like half an hour. And I think it's just all about fuel and money.
And wear and tear on the cars, and then therefore cars, die every about 6-7 years. You got to get a new car, or else you're really risking it.
New cars can the sort of hybrid cars where they kind of cut out and then they start back up again, and it's like you hear the whole engine like starting back up again. If they're a red light, it cuts out, and then when it goes green, you hear the whole car starting up again. It's like fucking again. It's like just that car starting up again rather than running, getting out of traffic, like just sitting running. I think starting a whole car up again costs fuel. And it must.
Well, yeah, there's actually a ratio. One of my friends at an old job told me about this. He's like, dude, if you're sitting there longer for than like 35 or 40 seconds in a traditional car, you're better off turning the gas off, because the amount of fuel that will be used specifically to ignite in a traditional engine of these, XYZ types, there's, the ratio, there's a math ratio. So it's like 35, 40 seconds. Like if you're going to be sitting longer than that, then turn your car off and you'll actually save gas. Right. Instead of idling for those. There's some ratio to it. It depends on your car. But that is a very curious little oddity, little factoid to know, especially if you're a penny pincher and shit. You know what I'm saying? Which I can be myself a lot of times I can be.
What kind of car do you drive, man?
I can't disclose that information, bro. Come on.
Oh, was it a fucking wee car?
It's a small economy car. Yeah.
Cool.
So
they're the best cars, man. They're the fucking best cars. There's no point driving a big fucking car around city. If you stay in the city, the best is to get a 1 liter car. I mean, really.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, I think everybody would have like super efficient little tiny bubbles, that could maybe even run on some other kind of fuel. I mean, that would actually be pretty nice, but we're nowhere near that right now.
Well, they say that's what the fucking New World Order's try to push. They try to push that everybody's got to be in these automated cars. Like, you don't even drive them. You just jump in them, put in a destination, and they're going to take you where you want to go. And then they're trying to take the freedom away from people, because you can't just drive where you want. It's going to be all set in tracks, and they're trying to get less people driving. There's meant to be this agenda that they want less and less people driving. Somebody do with is it Agenda 21? We want less and less people driving cars.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be that, because then my job would be obsolete. It'd be like we just put the shit in a box and send it to the address. So there'd be no delivery people anymore. But Yeah, I wouldn't like that, but I'd like cars to just not be the monsters that they are. I mean, like cars are so expensive, so fucking inefficient. It's like, there's much more efficient shit going on out there. There's so many artists with so many ideas that conceptualize cars, and then they actually build them, and they run on like, solar power, and they look like a normal car, and you never have to put gas in it, and it's electric or whatever, and it just works for life. And all you gotta do is replace tires and stuff and avoid collisions, and the car's gonna last essentially forever. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could get a car like that. I wish everyone had that. And then, collisions wouldn't be such a risk because it'd be like, plasticky cars, or, injuries wouldn't be such a risk in collisions as well.
Like Demolition Man. Kind of like Demolition. Yeah. Have you seen Demolition Man?
Well, a long time ago, yeah.
I remember it's like all these sort of wee bubbly fucking electric cars that you're driving about. And when he crashes, it's just like styrofoam fills the car. Yeah. It's like, but it seems quite. The thing is, this Demolition Man was seen as a sort of fucking stupid film, but it's so relevant now. See, when you watch it now, you're like, oh my God, even the cops can, like, they don't know what violence is, so they have to, like, read a script, like, stop. Again, like, yeah. I think Demolition Man is so relevant to today. Back then, when you watched it didn't seem relevant. But see, when you look at the way things are going nowadays, you're like, this SGW, this beta male society, this fucking weird pop music, like they're listening to adverts in Demolition Man on the radio, and it's like adverts are the music, and it's like culture's disappeared kind of thing. And sex, even human contact's disappeared because of diseases. It's like he wears a headset to have sex with Sandra Bullock and that. And God, it's happening now, man. It's happening now.
Yeah, that is kind of happening now, that kind of stuff. I mean, like, you know what movie is even more relevant, or it will be in the future, I think, if things keep going the way that they're going, is fucking Soylent Green.
What film?
Soylent Green.
I've never seen it, man.
Oh, man, it's a classic, man. Basically, it's a futuristic society where people live in a dirty-ass city, like cockroaches on top of each other, like rats, like in just apartments that just sprawl forever. And everybody, they have like a bicycle in their room, and that's how they charge up their batteries for their fridge and their lights and stuff. And it's just there's the economy is.
What was it called?
Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
Yeah, Soylent Green. Right. It's got it's Charlton Heston.
Right. So it's an old one then.
Oh yeah.
Well, have you seen Equilibrium with Christian Bale?
Oh, that's one of my favorites all time, man.
Oh, see, when he listens to Beethoven, okay, that's what I see like the future. If you get rid of art and music and shit like that, everyone's going to be like robots with no feelings. And see, when Christian Bale heard that Symphony No. 9 and he dropped the snow globe, man, and he had the tear running down the cheek and all that, man. Oh, it's so powerful, man. So fucking powerful. And it's so Orwellian as well. So it's so 1984. It's I think that got so overlooked, Equilibrium, because the Matrix came around the same time, and it just got overlooked. But when you look at the Matrix now, it seems like a load of bullshit compared to Equilibrium. Equilibrium's more realistic, and it's like it's almost like a Wizard of Oz type fucking thing, where the master father is just a screen, and it's never been. You never existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Equilibrium borrowed a lot more from another movie than it did The Matrix. Was Equilibrium considered to have borrowed from The Matrix? Not really, necessarily.
No,
right? No, okay.
Not necessarily.
Well, there was a movie that I believe Equilibrium borrowed from greatly, which was Gattaca.
Right.
You remember Gattaca with Ethan Hawke?
It rings a bell. I'm not sure if I've seen it though.
It's an American movie. It's like from the 90s, Gattaca. And, it's like the genes, GATC, like genetic code. So the city is called, or the civilization is then in some dystopian future called Gattaca. And, my computer's freaking out on me. That's what it is. It looks a lot like Equilibrium, where everyone has these uniforms and everybody's all staunch and there's no fucking emotion. Everyone has to fucking thumbprint and blood test their way into any room they want to go into. There's all these like levels.
Have you seen Metropolis?
The old movie?
All black and white. It's silent practically. I don't think there's any speaking in it, but that's similar. It's very fucking similar, mate.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, we could go on forever.
I know we could go on forever, man. I need to get to my bed. But okay. VB, man, it's been good. It's been an honor. It's been an honor.
Yeah. Wait, you got a little something brown on your nose there.
Honorable Skeptic Media. With something brown on my lip there.
Yeah.
Mustache.
Little smudge of fudge there.
I've got some shit on my nose there because I'm not fucking far at VB's ass.
No, it's been a great honor to have you on here, bro.
I think we should get me, you, Tim, and John on one night. I think it'll be good, man. Because I think the last time we were all in a panel together, we were still agreeing and we still never knew each other. And I was still hesitant. I was still nervous, man, speaking.
I know, man. I was like, why is Jed not like interacting with us as much as I want him to? I was like,
still nervous, man. Fucking, I think hangouts are a nerve-wracking fucking thing. I still get nervous, man, speaking to you and speaking to other people. I need to hype myself up before. And I'm like, I get fucking nervous, man. It must be just a natural thing. And it's not because you're so intimidating and shit. It's
it's because of all the people that are watching, all the eyes that are potentially watching you right now. That's what you're worried about. That's natural.
Maybe, man.
It's stage fright. That's natural. I mean, you're performing in front of an audience of what will eventually be 300 something viewers that click on this video, or maybe many, many, many more too in the future. But for in the immediate future, there's eventually going to be 200, 300 views on this video. So, that's what. But that's natural. You're not necessarily a performance guy kind of guy, So
it is. It doesn't come natural, but to me, talking to people comes natural. You know what I mean? So I do feel comfortable talking to people, but this whole arena, like you're on a screen and there's other people in the chat talking, and you're right. It's because people are watching. You feel like you're getting judged all the time, and that's
what you are.
Aye, and this is what I respect about you, too, man. You show your fucking face. You put yourself out to the world. And people will call you a baldy prick. People will call you things like that. But that's the name of the game. And you need to create a thick skin. You can't have thin skin on YouTube, man. I mean, and we've created thick skins now. It's good. We've benefited if we putting our faces out there because we're fucking bulletproof now. I mean, we are.
Yeah. Even Timmy broke down and showed his fucking face. He had to eventually.
He done it on my. I don't think a lot of people know that he came on my hangout, man. He showed his face. A lot of people are still like, "We've never seen Tim." I'm like, Glenn, he showed himself twice on my fucking hangouts, and Glenn thinks Tim's never shown himself. And we've seen him. I
mean, do you have those up still?
What video? The one with Tim in it?
Yeah, where he showed his face.
It was one not too long ago. It was a few hangouts back. Tim was there and he actually showed himself on screen.
Was it after the whole Jason Hornsby thing and all that mishap?
It was only about 2 months ago, mate.
Oh, well, that doesn't count. I thought you were talking about back in the day. Tim was showing his face on your hangout. Like,
oh no, he did show his face one time as well, like well before, but wasn't it Jason Hornsby? But it couldn't have been long after it. Tim came on my fucking hangout, fucking showed his face. I mean,
yeah,
he did. He's done it a couple of times. He doesn't do it for long, but he's like, "Hey, I'm real," fucking, and he cuts it off. He's not one to sit in front of the camera, but he's quite quick to show you he's a real guy. And hey, it's me again, Tim Osman. I mean, I've seen him quite a few times. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I like Tim, man. I like him. Just like I like you. Again, you're dicks, but I recognize I'm a dick. So we all recognize. We all recognize each other. Again.
Yep. For a lot of people out there, the dream panel is Jed, John LeBon, Timmy, and VB.
Oh, that would be good, man. I think nowadays that'd be good because we're so different, man, now. Like John LeBon, man, he's so he's so stuck in empiricism. Where do you draw the line? Like, he doesn't believe the Greeks philosophers existed. He doesn't believe Nikola Tesla existed, who, when did he die? 1920s or something, 30s? Like, wow. Where'd you draw the line? Where'd you draw the fucking line where people existed? John. Where'd you draw the line?
Me personally? Are you asking me personally, or what do you mean?
Yeah, personally, where do you think John draws the line where how far you can go back in history and believe in shit?
I mean, I can't speak for him, but doesn't he say something like, 20, 30 years before you personally were born, maybe? Or 40 years before any one of us were personally born?
That's so soon. That's so soon.
I mean, that's not possible because I mean, I trust my mom. I trust my mom's experiences from when she was, 10 years old.
What about her mom that passed on maybe stuff to her? And then her mom passing stuff to her, and then her mom passing stuff to her.
Yeah.
Like, where do you draw the line? So they existed. They existed because you're here today.
Yeah.
So
he's saying that, I mean, aren't there photographs of Nikola Tesla, or are there only paintings?
There's a couple of photographs, but I think because John LeBon says there's only 1 or 2 photographs of him, it must be fake. He doesn't believe Nikola Tesla existed.
I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that.
And I done an animation in college about Nikola Tesla again, and it's like, and I had to do some research because I wouldn't have passed my module if I never researched Tesla before I made an animation about him. I had to write a wee fucking where I got my information about him. You can't just Wikipedia it. I mean, you have to actually dig a bit.
Yeah, you had a list of bibliography of sources.
Aye, and references, proper references, no Wikipedia. You had to use proper references from places like decent places, reputable places. But then John LeBon will say those reputable places are controlled and they're bullshitting. So
I mean, I mean, I don't know, man. Part of me agrees with that kind of mindset quite a bit. It's like, what can you trust anymore? Who's to say that at some point the place where you live, or the place where I live, or the place whoever's listening to this, the place where they lived wasn't once cordoned off with a fence, and everybody who knew anything was killed off, and then they raised a bunch of babies and just made up a completely fake history and just told them that that's the way things were.
It possibly could happen, but it seems unlikely that kind of scenario would happen. And it could happen. You could wipe out a whole race and restart history in a way, but that's never happened in history. Again, not a whole fucking people still existed to tell stories, kind of thing. So I do believe in his empiricism. It is true, you have to see shit and all that, but you can still read books and learn stuff. I think it's like if you don't experience it firsthand, because that's empiricism, it isn't real knowledge. And in a way, it's right. In a way, it's right. But how do you ever learn? How you couldn't go out and experience everything in the world? You know what I mean? It's
actually rather self-limiting, I guess. But it's how much information. See, there's an irony in that with John LeBon saying that, because he wants to act like he's so wise to the world and he's so worldly, so knowledgeable. But then he's saying that everything anyone ever learns is garbage. But then he still wants to hold the esteem of someone who researches that same material and just says that it's not real. I don't know, man. It's very complicated, right?
It's complicated. It's hard to work him out, man. It's hard to work John out. That's why I think he'd be a good guest, because he's so different, and you're different, I'm different, and I found Tim's getting too used to sitting on these Discord fucking channels, and he's too used to listening to everyone beat up the flat earthers. Flat earthers. And so when somebody like me comes out and says, I think SpaceX is a bit fucking, this doesn't look right, Timmy feels the need to defend it because he's been doing it so long now, against the flat earthers, that even a guy that comes out that's not a flat earther and says, wait a minute, this looks a bit funny, he feels the need, obligated to defend SpaceX, even though he's the same mindset as us. He's suspicious as shit as well. Yeah. So I think Tim's been kind of going mainstream. I don't know, using the word cuck, but it seems to be the word. But Timmy seems to be going that mainstream cucky way, and it's like, come on, Tim, man, come back into the light.
Well, he knows it's a good position to fight from. It's a stable position. It's a well-established position. He knows there's other people around him that can help him. He doesn't have to go out there on his own with his own theory and defend his own theory like some of us do out here. So he knows he has backup, and he knows he can sit there and be part of a team, and he can fade into oblivion if he wants to. He can't man up and just think for himself. He wants to just take mainstream cuckery and just use that as his fucking sword.
And even put his allies under the bus to show his mainstream cuckery. Like expressed to you in the hangout, Jed was entirely false. He didn't know what he's talking about. Blah blah blah. he was saying that shit, even though we get along. You know what I mean? And just to throw me under the bus because he's turned into such a mainstream cuck. And it's like, fuck, man. Fuck, Tim. I thought you were better than that.
Oh, man. Well, let's leave the show on that note.
Let's leave it on a good note.
Yeah. Nice.
It's been good, mate. It's been good.
Yeah, it has been a good time, man.
And like I said, it's like anytime, mate. Anytime you want me to come on, I've got all the time in the world for you. I've kind of deleted a lot of flat earthers, and I've only left a small amount, and you're one of them, man. I think you and Martin Leakey, that's the only ones really left on my subs. Like, I sometimes type in Beyond the Magic Curve to see what Dell's, but I've never subbed him. I just type in his name. But you've always been subbed to, and Martin have always been subbed to. But the other ones, like Nathan Oakley, I have to actually type their fucking names in again to see what they're up to. So I do still watch your shit, man. I still enjoy your stuff, even though, again, you're kind of controversial. But I love that shit because I'm controversial, and I like to be a dick and annoy people too, and just to see the reaction, to see if you're right or wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, to come out with something, so people come out in the comments and say, "No, you're wrong." That's why I come out with some of my Christianity stuff. Like, I want people to come in the comments and say, "Jed, you're talking shit," because here's the evidence that disproves you. But it doesn't come. It's like, so you just keep continuing until someone comes along and puts you in your place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of YouTubers.
I want it. I want people to challenge me, but it's hard, man. It's hard.
I think that's roundabout way what a lot of YouTubers end up really doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like even Star Gods. I wish Star Gods wouldn't be so nervous. I wish he would join us too.
I know, man. But I had Star Gods on a hangout fucking months ago, and a brilliant guy, but he seems to flip-flop. And he seems to have the same obsession that Glenn's got with Pat. Pat, she must be a witch, man, because she's put a spell on these fuckers. You know what I mean? She's put a spell on these guys. Whether they hate her or love her, she's enchanted them. Again, they're under her spell, whether they hate her or love her.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because she kind of was like one of the more interesting things that was going on in Flat Earth for such a long time, because it had died down and it was just like, it was about drama, and who better to have drama than, and a lot of it wasn't even necessarily her fault. It's just the fact that she was a female in a high position. So drama just magnetized towards her, polarized towards her and around her. So she'd be sitting there, and then some guy would say something, and then some other guy would jump in like a white knight and attack that guy. And it's just because of the fact that she's a high-ranking female, and she had this power, and she's super charismatic with her background and everything like that.
So you do think she's a female?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And never been a male, sort of thing.
No.
Same here. I kind of, that's my stand as well. Like, I just go for observations, and I just look at the facial shapes, the body structure, stuff like the voice, and to me, everything's telling me that that's a woman. Yes. I could be wrong, but everything's telling me that that's a woman, and a well-kept woman. Can, like, if, how old's Patricia Steere? 55? Can something like that? God, she makes some 35-year-olds look old around here. You know what I mean? she makes some 35-year-olds look. She's a well-kept woman for my area. I mean, she'd be sought after in my area. And for the older guys, they'd be like fucking Patricia Steere. She'd be the talk of the tune in my area, especially with the red hair.
I mean, yeah. So she's charismatic, you know. People are drawn to that whole vibe that she puts off because she's well spoken. She's
teeth, perfect teeth.
Right? Well, it doesn't matter guy or girl. It's like they're well kept, they're well spoken, they draw people in, they're charismatic,
polite.
They're polite and stuff like that. It don't matter if they're a male or female. People are going to be attracted to them, and not even necessarily in a sexual way. Yeah. Just like, oh, they're just a person that I want to interact with, and they just happen to be female or they happen to be male. It doesn't have to be about sex or homosexual type stuff or any of that stuff. It's just, you know, like to you, like I'm attracted to watching your channel, and then I want to interact with you because I find you as a wise mind. It has nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's that too with Patricia, and she has like a large population of people that aren't trying to necessarily like court her or get with her. They just want to be
gravitate towards these people. Yeah. Gravitate towards these people because there's something interesting about them. Even if you didn't like sometimes even if you didn't like Dell, Like, I'm not keen on Dell. He's not my cup of tea as a person. I couldn't imagine Dell sitting in my living room talking to my family and shit, man. I just couldn't imagine that. But there's something that keeps me going back to Dell. There's something about him I like. You know what I mean? There's something I see myself in Dell.
Yeah, and on top of that, like this attraction that people have, this polarizing magnetism towards Patricia. She's still just a person on a screen. Yeah, you can interact with her because I talk to her I haven't in a long time now, but you can talk to her in a text message on Skype whenever you want. She's a real person, but there is this air of celebrity. She's just a person on a screen for most people out there. Yeah, I mean, there's been the meetups where she's met the people and stuff, but she's still just kind of a celebrity. There's no difference between Patricia Steere and their favorite talk show host. They kind of see them as the same thing. Some people subconsciously. So it's not even necessarily like a real, like they really like her. They're just like, I want to be entertained, and she's the thing that I find most entertaining, even if they don't even necessarily like her per se, but they always religiously watch her because she brings entertainment. She is entertaining, or she's going to bring about something that makes them feel like they're entertained because they're watching her.
And if something better came along, I'm sure the people would start watching that, but so far nothing has really came along that's been more presentable than Pat and charismatic, polite, interactor and with our audience, shit like that. There's nobody really came along like that yet. Pat would be dethroned if another woman came along and done the shit that she done, but better. I mean, but no one's ever done that yet. So people will still gravitate towards Pat.
Yeah, I mean, and then people say, oh, well, that success that she has, that means that it's all an operation. It's a psyop. It's like, no, she's probably just some person that figured out how people's minds work, and she's doing you could argue a generic thing where she's just a talk show that focuses on whatever that subject is, and she fits the bill, XYZ. She has this, she has that, she does this, she says that, she just does this, and so she ends up being the person. And then, like you said, someone else could come in and do it better, and then they'd be the person. So yeah, that's what it is.
I've noticed that within Flat Earth. It's like if you've got any nice things, you're suddenly maybe an agent because you've got money, because you've worked hard to, like, I've worked hard to fucking get this computer, and now people are accusing me I've been giving it to Pat and shit like that. It's like, fucking, it just takes away everything that you've worked hard and to earn. Even if you got nice clothes, nice shoes, or you're an agent because you got nice stuff. It's like, no, I like nice things in life. And I don't want to live like a tramp. I want to wear nice clothes. I want to have nice shoes. I want to have nice teeth. Again, when I go outside, it's not because I'm an agent, because I look after myself, and that's the way I want to present myself to people.
And here's another thing. Maybe the people that have a little bit more money and are maybe a little bit more comfortable, maybe that's because they're, hey, smarter. And maybe that's because, or maybe the reason they're into conspiracies and stuff and successful at it is because they have a little bit more free time. They have the money, they have the skills, the mental know-how. They're in a position of success because they have the fucking skills, man. I mean, that's what it is. It's just,
I think you're putting the nail on the head with Pat. I think she's maybe inherited money, and she's got loads of, she doesn't have to work. She's got loads of time. She maybe wants to go down a celebrity path or become known. Maybe that's not even to be famous, just for her own social sort of dynamic, and like to become
gratification,
a sort of sub-celebrity. And who doesn't want to be some kind of sub-celebrity? You know what I mean? Everybody wants that shit. Can look at Nathan Oakley, he strives for that shit. It's like there's certain characters out there, you know, they want to be kind of YouTube famous. Do you know what I mean? Even yourself in a kind of fucked up way. Even me. And we can deny it and say, no, I don't know what to be famous. I just want the message. No, you want people to listen to you. You want people to like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, man, it's about the truth,
ego, man. Ego, man. That's just ego. It's like, no, I like ego. Ego makes me who I am. If I never had ego, I'd be the same as everybody else that have just lost their ego. It's like, oh, we're all the same. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck you. I'm going to keep my ego. Actually, in fact, I'm going to boost my ego and make me even egotistical. I'm going to be even more egotistical just to ram it in your face. Again, I'm going to be a bigger character than you even expected.
Exactly, man. It's like if I didn't have any ego, if my ego wasn't part of this, then there would be no Validation Boy live stream. There would be no Validation Boy videos.
It'd be boring.
So
with that, if I never had ego, I'd be boring. I'd be sitting like, nah, you need ego. You need charisma. And it's something that you need.
Yeah, that's what that's what pisses me off when I see people out here that are around forever and ever and ever, and they don't make a single fucking video. They don't even talk on the camera. They don't have an opinion about it. All they do is text. It's like, man, after a while, people like that, you know, I can only respect you to such a level, you know, because you're not really in this.
Yeah.
You know? You're not confident enough in yourself to put your fucking face out there. Or even make a video talking even without showing your face. Like, come on, you got to say something for real. You can't just sit there and be I'm a guy that shows up only in the thing. You know? I don't know.
You're right, man. But do you know, like you said, we could go on all night talking about this shit. So I think we should just close it at that, man. It's been really good, man. I've enjoyed it. And just anytime you need a guest or you feel like you want to talk to Jed about some shite, I mean, just hit me up, man.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time about all kinds of little things, man. And I would just wish, man, I wish Jed was more accessible, man. I think he'd enjoy this topic.
It's just I have to do it late because I need to wait till my kids are asleep and all that. You know what I mean? It's just when the house is quiet, I can concentrate. I'm not like Nathan Oakley where I sit with my kids on my fucking lap, and swear at can swear. You idiot! You're a fucking moron. You got a kid sitting on you, Ken. He's not speaking to the kid, he's speaking to these idiots on the camera, but the kid still picks up on all this negative fucking energy that he's... And I couldn't do that shit with my kids sitting there, you know what I mean? So I have to wait till really late at night.
Well, I think America's East Coast prime time is your late night, so...
Yep.
I don't
mind, man. I'm a night hawk anyway, man. I'm a night hawk. Anyway, VB, I'm going to love you, leave you, hit my bed. It's been great. I'll probably end up going to my bed and put my headphones and watch this back. I always watch it back, man. I always watch shit back. I hear people saying, I made a video. I didn't watch it back. Of course you fucking watch it back.
Total bullshit. Every single person watches their content.
All
right, man.
I'll leave you and you can say goodbye to your audience and that. Cheers for having me on, man. It was a pleasure. And please invite me back.
I will. Patty says, thanks, Jed and VB.
Cheers, man. Cheers, Pat.
Cheers.
Love you. Love you, Pat. Remember my new Mac. I need an update on my new Mac, man. This one's getting a bit old. Right, see you later, VB. I'm gonna go.
All right. Later. All right, guys. That was a highly honored guest, GED Skeptic Media. Ancient content rival with VB. We've gone back and forth. We've thrown nasty punches each other's ways. But in the end, it turns out that we're actually got a lot of respect for each other. He's the real deal. He's got haters just like VB has haters. There's people out there that don't think I'm someone that could be taken seriously at all. And there might even be people out there that feel the same way about him. But then there's people on the other side of that coin that think that Jed and myself are some of the fucking coolest cats out here. And either way, I know that me and Jed are some of the coolest cats out here, and that's all that fucking matters. It's been great having all you guys in here. Thank you very much for joining us, Patricia. Thank you, Dan W, Angel Raven 444, Lanny from Canada, Andres, you P Mars, Rob S. Oh, the list goes on. Schlominger. Ray was up in here. Evil Reflection, Cat Earth. I mean, wow, Face, man. A who's who. All right, guys. Long talk. Good, productive talk. I'll see you guys probably Monday night. Once again, it's been great having Jed Skeptic Media on here. What else is there left to say? So much. When I listen back, it's going to give me ideas for the next time I get to talk to Jed. All right, guys. Much love, much respect. Flat Earth for life. Flat Earth conservative. Hashtag Flat Earth conservative. The sun is intangible. Validation Boy live stream February 23rd. February 23rd, 2018.